Yes.
We might be on air. I don't know, but we might be on air.
It's possible we've been on air for 24 years. I think that's the...
You see, I'm now looking at the live stream and I haven't started dancing yet. I've just started dancing.
There we go. We are live.
A few seconds where you're not really expecting it to be live.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone.
Yes.
This is called Serial Ports. I extended out my introduction there until I remembered what it was called.
Yes. How disorganized are we that we cannot remember the name of our own show that we are doing, that we have been doing on and off now for, I want to say, nearly 2 months. For almost the duration of the quarantine, in fact.
Yeah, this is how we entertain ourselves, and I flatter myself to say others, during the quarantine. We got Mickey Husky, we got Troy Fullwood. Hello and hello. And
then goodbye. Yeah. That's it. We're done. Thanks for watching.
We got Brian Sear. Hi, Brian.
We have. I'm trying to bring up the chat on my phone.
Oh.
I'm trying. Well, yeah, because I've got the lowest. I've got 2 screens. I have my main screen here, which has the game on it, and also has your face. I've got the lower screen down here, which has OBS, which by extension has the game on it and your face and my face. And then I have my phone right here, which is right now showing us live. I don't need to see it. I just want to see the chat. I'm setting it up to show me the chat, so I can see the chat.
Would it help you at all? Oh no, you've got it. I was going to ask you if it would help me to help you if I sent you a direct link.
Oh no,
to
I've got
stream.
it. I'm all set.
I now realise though that I ought to send Twitter a link to the stream.
Twitter would be good. I think maybe it's just me. I think Twitter would be very good indeed.
Remember Kids TV? I'm tweeting. Remember the tie-in games they made to tie in with Kids TV? Well, me and Ben Paddon.
That's me.
Are playing those. 1 US game, 1 UK game every week, including right now live.
See, I'm gonna take a different tack. I like your tack. Yours is a very good tack. I'm just gonna tweet "We're live now" and then the link.
I mean, fair enough, I suppose.
I'm also going to retweet the thing you wrote because I think it's smart and clever and informative.
Sure.
Where is it? How does internet work? There we go.
Gosh. Are we going to go into this right now?
Yeah,
give me a series of pipes.
Give me a full breakdown of exactly how the internet works. I need to know the ins and outs, and I need to know them right now.
Okay, so the first thing that happens is your computer has one big pipe sticking out of it. You open the valve, and all sorts of little zeros and ones go firing out of it at pressure. And they go into the... They used to have to go down a really thin band. But now we've got big broad bands that they go down. And if you've had enough fiber, then it helps them to go... It smooths out the journey. So they go through the pipe a lot more sort of cleanly and quickly.
That's quite nice.
Depending on how much fiber you've had. And then they all mash up and collect in clumps in the middle. And before long, the pressure builds up and more ones and zeros are fired back towards you in the opposite direction. And if you're lucky, it's different ones. And they spray all over your face. And you don't notice that what they're made of because they convert in your retinas to pictures and patterns and in your ears to sounds. And that's how it's done. Hi, V-Droid. Hi, Nils Gaming HD.
You know what I like about that description is it was 90% more detailed than I was anticipating. I really feel like I've learned something today.
Right. Now, so have you... Is this a demo mode, or have you started?
I've started. I decided to start because that's how I roll. The demo mode was playing my previous recording. I guess it recorded my previous gameplay input, which was nothing because I was just trying to get the screen size correct.
That's very interesting.
Because it took
Is that what the game just natively used to do?
I guess so, because when it was on demo mode, all that happened was Wheeler, for that is the name of the I keep wanting to say Fire Power Ranger. That's not what he is.
It is.
Okay, cool. Wheeler is he moved one spot like I did, and then he stood still while I resized the window because this game does something quite annoying. And that is that it inconsistently places the screen in the middle of the monitor, the main menu part of Captain Planet and the Planeteers, where you pick your level, is set slightly higher. Oh, balls. I knew that would happen.
Slightly higher up balls.
It's slightly higher up balls, yeah. So
it's like how, upstage, downstage. On the Amiga, it was called up balls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of the ball that was like red and white.
The red and white
on the Amiga.
The red and white ball. Yeah, everyone who knows the Amiga.
Come on. Yeah.
Yeah. So I lost all my little followers. I was building a nice little cult of monsters who may or may not be made of pollution.
Well, I think between us, we're losing all of mine as well.
I like that confidence. I like that the belief in one's own ability to make something that people want to enjoy.
So we're playing Captain Planet and the Planeteers on the Amiga.
Yeah.
Something of a classic, because it very much came with quite a lot of Amigas in those days.
A lot of people. And here's a fun fact about Captain Planet and the Planeteers: there are 2 versions of this game.
Oh no!
There are 2 versions. The first version came free with the Cartoon Capers Amiga 500 bundle, which is where most people would have played it, which also included Deluxe Paint 3, Batman the movie, the game, and Bart Simpson versus the Space Mutants.
Yes.
But, and this is my favourite thing about the version that came with that pack, it was unfinished.
Oh gosh!
They rushed it out in an unfinished state to release it as part of that bundle, and then they ended up releasing a standalone version later that was absolutely finished.
And do we mean finished in the sense that like the game just stopped partway, or like loads of features were missing?
It was just buggy. Some of the graphics were different. There were placeholder graphics on the version that came with the Cartoon Capers. The version that
How could you tell? What was placeholder about them?
They were just different. It was like different sets of monsters,
Right.
Which I always found very fascinating as a kid, because I had the I had the standalone version, but my friend Adam, I say friend, but my friend Adam, his family had the Cartoon Capers pack, so he had a different version of Captain Planet and his amazing Planet Boys and Girls and variations thereupon.
Well, which version are we looking at today?
I downloaded whatever version I could find off of the Intertron, so I believe this is the standalone release.
Right. That's what a shame for the developers of that game, because the unfinished version, definitely the most widely owned version.
Yeah.
For sure.
Almost certainly. The standalone version, I would imagine sales of the standalone version were probably not stellar.
No. Especially since, like, it's not as if it wasn't that hot of a property at the time, and it was old in the tooth long in the tooth, presumably by the time that standalone version managed to come out.
Yeah, because I think the Cartoon Capers pack was 91, and I think the standalone release came out in 92.
That feels about right, yeah. Ours, I believe we owned ours in quite a bit later, 94 or 5, and it came with the second Amiga that we got, but all of the Amigas we got, as with, I think, all the computers that we got ever, were second-hand. Up until the Windows 95 sort of era, and so they it also came with Bart versus the Space Mutants, as did the first Amiga that we had, but not as any kind of pack-in. It just so happened that the person who previously owned it bought the standalone. So I'm pretty sure what we had was the standalone version, because I think I can remember the box.
Yes, I definitely remember the box. I remember, I was with my parents. I think it might have been just my dad. I think my mum and my sister had gone off one area of Milton Keynes. The kind of shopping centre in the middle of town, and my dad and I had wandered around the market, and I think I have a vague memory of my dad buying Captain Planet for the Amiga while I was there with him.
Oh, cool.
There we go. I've lost all my disciples once
again.
again.
If anybody doesn't know, Captain Planet, a cartoon series that was on when we were kids with an environmental message, and basically do imagine Power Rangers, except instead of Megazord, they had Captain Planet. And when they combined their powers that they got from rings, as depicted at the bottom of the screen there, Earth, Fire, Wind, Water, Heart, they...
the famous element of heart.
The famous element of heart. They were able to summon Captain Planet, who was a big Superman, but sort of green and blue, and he would do environmental
How
things.
lame is this camera, by the way? How awful is this? Look at where I am positioned on the screen relative to where the camera has decided to... Look at that.
Yeah. See what you mean, yeah.
Yeah. There were a lot of things that annoyed me about this game as a kid, and that was 4 of them.
But this is the Amiga conversion.
Yes.
Don't mean that. The Amiga game adaptation,
Yeah.
that's the word.
There were other games for other systems, but they were very different.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was an NES one that was more of a scrolling shoot 'em up.
Oh. Well, this I can't sadly hear the soundtrack.
Oh, the music's
right
fantastic.
Now. Well, the music's fantastic. Yeah. I only care about the title screen and the this level music, but
Yes.
good God, those 2 tunes, gimme, gimme, gimme.
Well, also, part of that is because these are the tunes people heard.
I mean, did anyone ever get further than this level?
I did make it as far as Wind and Heart. I never got further than that. I never finished Wind. And
Wow,
even when
Wind and Heart is very good at the game. I think he still holds the record, doesn't he?
he does, he's a world record speedrunner, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't quite beat his time, but
Sure, but to even approach it.
yeah, I mean it's impressive. I don't want to brag too much, but I'm gonna. I think I really kind of set the bar, and I almost met it. But
now, Wind and Heart, of course, is a double-barrel surname. His first name was Plopsy Pants, so that's why he always just goes by Wind and Heart.
It really was. I mean, if that were my name,
exactly.
I tell you what, that's a proper like Blackadder the Second joke. That is very. That's very. Is that
a polar bear in a cloud?
It is. It's a polar bear in a cloud. So the goal of in order to finish each level, you have to rescue the animal. And I know how to rescue the animals here because it involves fixing the holes in the ozone layer. Remember when we were concerned about how the ozone layer had big holes in?
That was the main thing, yeah.
Yeah.
It had polar bears filling it up because they were climbing through the hole.
Yeah. So the goal is I have to fill up the holes in the ozone layer, while these airships and balloons are dropping radioactive fuzz, hastily drawn in D-paint radioactive fuzz to put holes in the ozone layer.
With the brush in D-paint. And then just drag down a little bit.
Yeah. So I have to use this. This is coming out of a pipe called ozone, and I have to use this radiation to fix the holes in the ozone layer. And then
that's how to fix it, is it? Put
Yeah.
radiation.
Yeah, you just drop this energy,
Cool.
and then I have to go and I have to escort every single one of these chuffing polar bears to the North Pole, which is conveniently. East of the ozone layer. They were going to walk along the ozone layer to a little signpost that says to the North Pole.
Right, but there's a hole in it, so they're falling in.
Yeah, that's why I've got to do this.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Now, genuine question because I can't remember. Under what circumstances and for what purpose do you gather little versions of the bad guys you've been killing?
If it's the guys on the ground, then you just have them, and they act as kind of score multipliers. With the guys in the balloons, you have to catch them as they parachute out of the ship you've just destroyed. So you've got to save them and stop them from kind of landing on the ground.
It's a very interesting game mechanic, isn't it?
Shockingly, it's very complicated. I have no
little
idea.
Fellas following you around.
Yeah, I have no idea why they made such a complicated game for such a, let's be blunt, kind of a crap children's show.
Because all they needed to do was have it that, when you've killed you each time you kill a bad guy, your points go up. It doesn't need to have a little man following you around. I appreciate it. I love games where a little man follows you around.
Yeah.
Wiz and Liz, Wonder Boy in Monster World.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I can think of.
There are more. I'm sure there are more. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but they exist.
There was one Dizzy game, Spellbound Dizzy, where one of the items you could pick up was Dylan's Vibes, which was a small version of your friend Dylan, whose vibes he allowed you to have.
Yes.
So yeah, small version of character you've encountered, a favourite of mine, and of course, the small chap following you around on the Amiga was Spud in Super Frog.
Yes. Oh,
Love
yes.
that guy.
Which that Spud was kind of that was a very common thing in Amiga games at the time. There were people, a lot of developers were, oh, you bastard. I thought I got you all. There's always one. Oh, there's two!
Huh.
You absolute two.
Right. What? So Spud
Sorry.
was common, but
Yeah,
a lot of developers what?
There were lots of, like, Spud. I don't know whether Spud was the first, but there were a bunch of... There's two of these bastards up here. There's three of them!
Ben, every time you try and tell me this, you just start counting instead.
I'm sorry. I'm trying really hard to maintain an air of relevancy, but instead I'm being
Aren't
attacked.
we all?
I'm being attacked by... oh, no, I don't want loot and plunder. Is that his name?
Let's call him that. Somebody was called that.
Some bloke. Now I have to go through and check, make sure there's no holes in the ozone layer. Otherwise, I've killed. So you have to rescue the animals, because if you don't rescue the animals, you break your ring, which is was a huge problem for me at a young age, because I only know how to rescue the
ring at a young age.
Yeah, no, just
It's
I mean that's
lasting damage.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing that stays with you. I mean, you have to get one of those inflatable rings to sit on. But the biggest problem is I don't know how to rescue any of the other animals on any of the other levels, so I break every other ring. Wheeler's level I've got down. I can do this. I could do this in my sleep. To the point where I ignored 3 to 5 of the enemies.
Right, well, I can look it up live as we play it.
Because the next level... So, the next level is the water level, but I know that in the other release, I believe the Cartoon Capers release, the next level was Heart. But on here it's gonna be water. It's gonna be Guy, I think her name is.
Oh. Can't remember.
Neither of us can, that's the problem. We've aged out of the Captain Planet system.
That's it, and retained very scarce memory of it.
Yeah.
I can do you the theme tune, but that's more or less it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was how a lot of cartoons in the 80s were designed to be remembered.
Yeah. What will happen is, there'll be a gap in the ozone that I've somehow missed, despite having scoured the ozone no fewer than 3 times so far, and we'll know about it because my ring will crack.
Oh, no. Oof.
Yeah. It'll be uncomfortable for all of us.
God, yeah. Like, live on screen.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is I would prefer my ring not crack. If it's going to happen, I don't want it to happen on the stream. I want it to happen in the, I want a modicum of privacy and dignity for the whole affair.
I know. But the thing is, this is just the new world that we live in. You can't just nip down to the doctor if something goes wrong.
Oh, no. This polar bear's going to die. Oh, no, he's not. He doesn't fall off.
Oh, good.
But there is they will stop and wait. But it does mean there's a dude up here somewhere. And it's my responsibility to find him.
Now, what was it that you were trying to tell me that you kept counting in the middle of, I wonder?
I genuinely can't remember. What was I trying? I think I might have been trying to tell you about this, actually, about the ozone layer.
Probably, yeah.
What about how knackered it is? I think you're safe now, Lion. There you go. Sea Lion. Oh yeah, this thing leads to the North Pole.
Uh-huh.
It goes, oh, I'm going to go ahead and check, just to be sure. This is going to be the 4th or 5th scan of the ozone that I've done. And yeah, there's... Oh, it's the South Pole. There we are.
Oh. Matt from the Life's a Pitch podcast. Very fond of your shirt, Ben. And yeah, looking at it, I don't have a high enough resolution to see what those illustrations are of. Could you fill me in?
They are milkshakes, ice cream sundaes, and root beer floats. This is a lovely shirt. This is a shirt... This shirt was made by a company called Uchu Summer. That is UCHUU Summer.com. I have a couple of their shirts. I found them... My girlfriend actually has a shirt of theirs that she has, but we didn't realize that's who it was until we saw them exhibiting at Anime California in Ontario earlier this year. It was Anime California, it was Anime LA, and I bought 2 of their shirts. I would have bought a third, but they didn't have the one I wanted in my size. Okay, so now I can do the water or heart level. Yeah, these levels were switched on the Cartoon Capers version.
Oh, now, you see, I didn't see this bit when we started this stream, and my memory was of being able to select between the fire and water levels to begin with. Is that not correct?
Well, maybe it's the other way. Maybe the standalone version put heart here and water here. But I remember... No, yeah, no, this is the standalone version. Because it goes fire, water, heart, wind, earth. And I can get as far as wind. I've never done earth. I have no idea what earth looks like. I'm going to do water.
I've only played fire and water. And for some reason, I thought that those would... You could pick which of those 2 you wanted to play to start off with.
Yes, you can. I always choose fire because it's the one I can do.
Right. That explains why I thought it then.
Yeah. You thought it because it was true.
because that was the case. Well, that's not always a good guide to why I think something, but when it comes up, I'll take it. Troy Fullwood is saying, I'm not sure shooting nuclear material with fire is a good idea. It might not be. Stuart Gipp comments, this looks unbelievably wretched.
That's not an unfair description of Captain Planet and his planeteering squad of planeteers. I know I'm supposed to be able to zap this box, as is the custom among my people, but I genuinely cannot remember how to freeze it.
Oh.
Oh, no, I've died. So I have died, but I do have
Right.
9 lives left.
Cool, all right.
Nope, died. This thing's just going to kill me. I do not know how to stop this thing. I know you can freeze it. I know it's possible to freeze it, but I can't remember how.
Right, well, maybe you should stop flailing about and I'll look it up.
Yes.
Not sure where to do that. Let's find out. Oh, what's the place you keep saying the name? Lemon Amiga, was it? Or is that a different one?
Lemon Amiga and the Hall of Light, which is hol.abime.net.
That's the one.
That's the one. I love Abime because they host Dream 17 now.
Well, quite.
Yes.
Okay, so I now have the instructions up. Water level. Loot and plunder. Oh, so it wasn't Luton last time. It was, well, I'll bother with that later. Has stolen the dolphins. The deranged villain has imprisoned dolphins in a cruel water prison. Will never let them back to sea unless you use Gi, TM, and the power of water to stop him. The dolphins must be given a safe route. Okay, whatever. Use the normal keys or joystick positions for run and jump. Fire activates her ring of power, which sends out an ice platform. Jump onto the platforms to make your way around the screen. Combine fire and down to make the ice platform appear below you. If Guy falls, use fire to create an ice slide below her. I remember doing that and it being a lot of fun, so that she can glide to safety. To activate the eco sub, fall into the top of it. So no real mention there about how to freeze people. So I guess you just throw ice platforms at them.
I guess so. I know this is very Bubble Bobble. I definitely remember this. Oh god! And when the bubble pops, they come back at you at like triple speed. It's actually like that. You see that? That was very quick. I cannot believe I did it.
I just then heard, because I can't hear the music through our setup.
Do you see this?
I just heard.
I missed the sub.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, it says just drop on top of it, as if it was really easy to do. So, yeah, I'm not really able to hear the sound, but I just heard a little bit of it through, through your mic, as it were. And
there we go.
What I think I heard was the tune that I was under the impression was the fire level music. So it may have been when I said I only cared about the titles, music, and this music.
Oh no!
But what I meant was this music.
This is some good music. All of the music in this game is actually very, very good. Oh, this one's gone. I dropped one of the barrels of radioactive hoobity-doo.
Well, don't do
so
that.
Tedious. Arses! I'm going to try using the analog stick. No, this is worse.
I want an arse that lays gold eggs for Easter. 100 a day.
That's going to, I'll tell you what, that's going to be a very sore arse.
I want an arse. I want a sore arse. One of those.
Horrible. Oh, I've lost something like 6 lives on this level now.
Silly.
Come on now. Gotta be very careful. It's such a... so much of this is designed for people who are not me.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to look up the music to find out which one is indeed which. Okay, so title screen, absolute cast iron 24-carat banger. Fire level, let's see.
There's more of that nonsense.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that is 3 pieces of music that I'm incredibly invested in then. Yep.
I remember the harp music very well.
Do you? I've never heard it, probably. Listening to it now on YouTube. Oh, it's boingy.
No!
Oh, I suppose me just silently sitting there staring into space listening to something on my headphones isn't really very good broadcasting, is it?
I mean, it might be somebody something. I mean, everything is somebody something.
Right, yeah. I suppose so. I'm going to mute my mic to be even silenter, but it's because I'm actually going to do a cough.
Smart.
I know, I'm very clever. Everybody keeps telling me that whenever I cough.
Excuse me, that was my version of a cough.
See, it was worse. I think you could have muted the mic for that. I'm teetering on the edge of buying this very expensive shirt, says Matt.
I've died. It's a good show. It's $40, and I can't recommend it enough.
You have failed. The Earth has fallen to the power of the eco-villains.
The thing about that is there's a modicum of truth to that, which I don't like.
There is, isn't it? Isn't Captain Planet one of the more interesting topics that pops up in your head now and then about ways in which we manifestly fail to listen to something?
Yes. I'm going to have another go at the water level.
What interests me the most about it is that it was made by the generation of people who, did the worst damage to the environment and persisted in making sure that it continued to be damaged beyond reparation.
Well, it was one of those things where, because we're living in this kind of control experiment right now where we can actually see what's causing the bulk of the damage. Yeah. And people not being able to drive their cars, turns out when you take the majority of cars off the road, it doesn't actually have that much of an impact on the environment, because what's causing the problem is not car emissions so much as it is the people making the bloody things.
Yeah.
I remember seeing on Tumblr a post that said, it's not that people are causing... It's not that humanity is making the Earth worse. There's like 7 people, and the number of people who are causing environmental problems, it's 7 people, and we know their names and addresses.
Yes, and that is just the right amount of people to be the supervillains in something like Captain Planet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 7 is the number of bosses in a Japanese RPG.
Yeah. I think it's about time a revival of Captain Planet was attempted, but with literally the actual individuals from real life most responsible for what we might label eco-terrorism. I suppose in Captain Planet they were deliberately going, I'm going to destroy the environment. Whereas in this, they're going, I'm going to destroy the environment. They sort of say it under their breath in real life.
It's not so much that we're just... Because that's the thing about the villains in Captain Planet. Their whole thing is, I'm destroying the environment. That's their whole,
Yeah. Ah, ha, ha.
Yeah, look at us. We're evil and destroying the environment.
It's my main goal, yeah.
Yeah, the reality is, what they want to do is just make money, and destroying the environment is kind of a byproduct of that.
That's right, and what's a shame about that? I suppose most of it is, but one of the things that I find a shame about that is that if you had a Captain Planet villain whose thing was, I want to make money, and I want to be rich, and I want to do that by polluting the planet, at some point, even that cartoon mustache-twirling villain would go, there we go, I'm rich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas the people who are currently destroying the planet are rich beyond the wildest dreams of men and gods, but they're still doing it. And yes, they're still doing it to make money, but you have to wonder but you've got it.
Yeah. I'm gonna die before I get anywhere near finishing this level. It's embarrassing.
I know. Well, that's the Captain Planet game. I mean, presumably there are humans anywhere in the world who've ever got further than this. And not, for some reason, I sort of exclude people who have, in the internet age, learned how to play it for speedrunning purposes and things like that. I mean, on the Amiga in the early 90s, or indeed later 90s, is there anyone who ever really got to the last levels? I bet it's about as many people as are currently at the head of those corporations we were just talking about.
7. I would wager that there were some very kids who were certainly more determined than I ever was, because I didn't even finish the Thundercats game. Arses! Right. I'm dead again. I hate these arses to passes. I do get continue though. I do apparently get unlimited
Good.
continues.
Oh, do you?
I'm gonna try the water level one more time.
Yep.
And then if I don't, I said
Water level one more time.
And then
I
if
did the bass line there.
Good job.
Just to throw things up a bit. Just to throw it up. Just to throw up.
I did the bass line. I'm going to be sick.
That's a song that's now more than 20 years old. Because Oops, I Did It Again celebrates what I think was its either 20th or 21st anniversary recently. Or today or something.
Thursday. I don't know. I'm just saying words now. You buttock! You are a single solitary buttock.
Not even. So 2 would be better.
2 is the preferred number.
Yeah, I suppose so. If someone was was 2 buttocks, then they would be a whole bum.
2 buttocks too furious.
Yeah, but if someone was 1 solitary buttock, then what you have there is a very exposed anus. Don't you? There's nothing to cut because the buttocks usually close around the anus. You don't. That's the main thing.
We're spending, I would say, too much time talking about rings and anuses in this particular stream. You're gonna get an angry letter from Jeffrey YouTube.
I would be honoured. I'll
Sir,
frame it.
Sir Jeffrey YouTube.
Yeah. Lord Jeffrey YouTube these days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm amazed that he got that lordship, especially considering how beans. Especially considering how beans. Especially considering that the Queen's YouTube channel got copyright strikes against it.
Is that based in fact? Did something happen? Many of the things I say are not based in fact. I just like the idea of the Queen getting copyright strikes. There was something about the tone with which you said it that made me think that actually was true, and that the Queen did get copyright strikes for using, I don't know, like a copyright recording of "God Save the Queen" or something.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Yeah, someone filed a copyright claim against Queen Elizabeth II. This happened last time as well. Well, the first time, I should say. I missed, and I got stuck in the water.
Oh dear. God, what a lovely time I used to have listening to the music to this game. This wasn't a game that I played. We were a 2 Amiga family eventually.
Oh, get you!
I know. We, both secondhand, as I say, bought off. Presumably, people Dad knew. There was no eBay in those days. So from down the pub is probably where they were got. But one was a 500 plus without any trimmings. And I think either we upgraded it to the full meg of RAM, or it was already upgraded. One of those. But then, out of the woodwork came someone with a very upgraded Amiga 500 Plus, which had 8 megabytes of RAM. Now that's not even a joke. Like in those days, that's ridiculous.
A lot. Yeah.
That was like having 80, gig of RAM now. It was loads.
There was nothing that you could do with an Amiga 500 Plus at that point that needed.
There was one thing. If you had the full 8 gig, you could play the largest maps in the Settlers.
Oh.
Yeah. And it went up by a size every meg you got.
Fascinating.
But presumably it also helped with things like we were using it for creative output. I was doing animations and music and stuff, and I'm sure it helped. But what? Second Amiga that had all of this stuff. It also had a hard drive, and that was a rare thing.
Was that the add-on, or was it an internal hard drive?
It was the add-on. It was a big box clamped to the side of the Amiga, sticking off the side, making it all bigger.
We had one of those.
Did you?
Yeah. Was it the A525 or something like that?
Oh, I don't know. Number. All I can tell you is it was 40 meg. 40 megabyte big hard drive.
That's a chunking hard drive at the time.
It was. Now my friend had a 200 meg internal hard drive on his 1200, and he always had, and I was very jealous of that. But he hadn't always, but he did. And so we had Workbench on that, so you just turned it on and it booted up. But not so much. Actually, what happened was you turned it on, and the fan on the inside of the hard drive, because it required its own internal fan, went like this. Woo, like that. And the green Amiga light would flash to tell you that it was crashing and unable to boot, and it wouldn't boot. And if you wanted to make it boot, then what you had to do, this was in a time where nearly every piece of hardware you ever had of any kind had idiosyncrasies that you had to learn, and by absolute Skinner box trial and error, you eventually figured out what combination of sigils and bodily positions and sort of hand signals you had to do to essentially entice the machine spirit to allow it to work.
Yes.
And in the case of the Amiga hard drive, if you wanted it to boot, what you had to do was to put all of your weight, at least all of the weight of a 12 to 15-year-old, whatever age I was at the time, cross your hands over like this and press them down on the exhaust area of the. What do I mean? Not exhaust. What do you call on a hard drive?
The vent, the fan area.
The vent. Yeah, the vent. Press on that as hard as you could. And I don't understand why, but that stabilized it would just be woo, and it would load then. And then once it had got past the very beginning of boot, you could take your hands off again, and for the entire time the Amiga was on, it would never do that sound again, and everything would be fine. Do not know what that's all about. There is no explanation for that, but it worked every time. It's the only thing that worked. I don't get it. I don't know how. I've got it. It's here somewhere, but I haven't plugged it in since the 90s because I'm too scared. I know it won't boot, and it's got all my stuff on it. It's got music I did. It's got stuff I hadn't got backups of on floppy. I'm worried about what I'm going to find out that I've lost. But one day I'll hook it all up. Basically, what I want to do is make sure that the day I hook it all up, I have the means to immediately, essentially, record everything off it.
Yeah.
In case it never happens again.
That's a fair and honest fear. I told you that I used my Amiga 1200, and I tweeted this earlier in the week, but I used my Amiga 1200 to do all of my GCSE coursework in it. This despite the fact that I didn't have a printer, and despite the fact that we had a perfectly serviceable PC in the house. I insisted on doing all of my GCSE coursework on my Amiga 1200. It was inaccessible, and then the hard drive died, and I couldn't hand in any of it. A lot of it... Oh, you've gone quiet. You've muted. You mute?
Sorry, I was blowing my nose, which I'm about to return to in a moment. But oh no, I didn't know that last bit of the story where it died and you couldn't hand it in.
It happens, I mean, I think I was able to salvage something. Like I was able to hand in. The only stuff I couldn't hand in was my graphic design technology coursework. I failed graphic design because everything was on the Amiga. Yes, that's the key.
Graphics was something the Amiga was good at.
Yeah, I did all of my design work in Deluxe Paint, which maybe not have been the ideal bit of kit for it. But the thing that sucks about this game, about this level, is there's this eagle whose only goal is to fly to bits of the level where there are currently monsters, collect them, and then drop them on you to make the current bit you're on harder.
Sandy Lesser says, is a single buttock like being half-assed?
Brilliant. That's I'll tell you what, Sandy, that is solid bronze.
Yeah. Yes, I had an IT teacher when I was 15 who was, well, maybe it was a coincidence, but he seemed to have been the reason why, as a family, we moved from Amiga to an Amiga 500 plus, no less, to Windows 95, was because basically, yes, I had an IT course, which was not an elective. That was part of the normal curriculum that you all had to do. And I at the time, I thought it was rather something of an assumption on his and the curriculum's part. But he did need us to do our homework on certain software, which, of course, was PC software. I remember being very aggrieved that we were being expected to use something called Excel, which you couldn't get on the Amiga. And so we did have to get a PC. Now, I now realise that I think actually what he was intending us to do was to go into the computer, suite at the school. There was a room full of computers, and do our work there. But it was so entirely beyond me as a concept that I was being asked to do homework during what I can only assume was either lunch or after school, of all things. But I don't ever remember either being told that such a resource was available, or that we were allowed on the computers at all. I definitely thought we weren't. And in fact, this was an opinion that was backed up by that very same lesson, because whenever we, the GCSE students, that is to say, between about 14 and 16 years old, went on the computers at this school, they had Windows 3.1, and that was all they had, even though it was, I was there up until 1997. No, later. 8. Actually, it turned out that the sixth formers, which is what you are when you are sort of in the last and next, the years where you can have left school at 15, 16 if you wish, but instead stay on as part of a trajectory to get to university. They were allowed on the same computers, but now they had Windows 95. They had a different login that went to a different OS.
Interesting.
And I never really understood what the point of any of those decisions was. So we ended up with a PC.
It was just hatred. It was just the teachers, the faculty there
feels like
physically hated you, I think.
It honestly felt that way. This teacher, who I'm not naming because I don't know, it seems unfair, but let's give him a name that says this is a teacher nobody would like. I'm going to say Mr. Kerr. 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 I've never met anyone whose name was Kerr that I liked. Interesting.
And I say that because my math teacher back in junior school was Mr. Kerr, and he was an absolute Kerr.
That is a single phoneme away from my least favourite teacher as well. And I'm not. Do I mean phoneme? What's the? Yes, there's a single consonant sound away from my least favourite teacher. Again, who I won't name, but only because the things I have to say about her could be actionable. In either direction, if I was found to be lying about them, which I wouldn't be, or if she was found to have done them, which can't be proved at this late stage.
Oh wow!
That's a good name. So Mr. Kerr, we shall call him. What he used to do was he used to come into the computer classroom, and he would say, "Can you get your folders out, please?" As he leaned on his desk, "Get your folders out, please." And then that would be it. He would just leave. And that would be the last time we saw him. And what he would do was he would tell us what page we were on, at which point we were expected to open the book, which was basically just a thick textbook that said everything about computers. And we were just supposed to copy down the exercises, which I think actually what was perhaps supposed to happen was that a teacher was supposed to read that book and themselves set us the exercises, that maybe that was the curriculum book. But instead, he trusted us to do it ourselves. So our IT lessons were just opening the book to the page that he said we were to do that day and just write it down. Just write down what was on that page and then go. And during this, he would literally leave the whole room. And if we left the room, like I say, at the end of the lesson, we would see a little booth that he would sit in. He had a little corner office kind of a booth. I don't know what it was actually for. Like, whoever made the building, whoever built it, I don't know what the architect meant this to be for.
It was his brother. It was his brother. Yeah, probably. It was just a little corner in the middle of a square area which had doors on all sides leading to different rooms and classrooms, and one of these was a small booth with, window wall. So he wasn't even in, secrecy or anything. He was in a little windowed booth. He had his own computer in it and some shelves, and he would just sit in there drinking coffee. And it was an incredibly brazen behaviour. It's amazing. Any other teacher who went by, any member of staff would see him there. He couldn't get away with it or anything. Apparently, the whole faculty agreed that his job was to sit and drink coffee and play on a computer. Interesting.
I wonder if, actually, this is the first time I've ever thought about this, I wonder if he was some form of school secretary as well, who his other job was to be the man on a computer, because this would have been just at the tail end of when he might have conceivably been the only one who knew how to be on a computer on staff. That's possible.
I still remember our computer was still using my junior school, good old Beechwood Junior School, was still using Acorn Archimedes up until, God, 96, when we got our first Windows-based computer, and there was a Windows 95 computer that sat very proudly in the corner of the room, of Mr. Kerr's classroom, actually. And it was absolutely. I remember being absolutely fascinated by it and being absolutely and utterly unable to touch it, being disallowed. No one was allowed to touch this thing.
Yeah, that's why that was why it was there, so that no one could use it.
And then my high school, I went to Halyard High School, which, fun fact, no longer exists. It was demolished to make way for an academy.
I hate that. Why don't they just put the academy in the previous building and then build a bit more?
Well, in fairness, the school was bad. It was not.
Right.
It was not what I would call a charter school.
You mean, but do you mean physically? Was there anything wrong with the building itself?
It was built on ley lines. I don't actually. It was just haunted.
Yeah.
The bricks were haunted.
Good. That's good. That's a positive quality in a school.
No, it was haunted by teachers who'd failed the students. So it was. It really was.
I don't know. I still think that's a good quality in a school because that just puts the willies up the new teachers who have to do better.
It was haunted by teachers who'd done really well for their students. It's like, well, what's the point? What's the point in being good for the kids if I get stuck here for eternity? There you go.
Mickey Husky inevitably asking, as I'm sure you all intuited yourselves as students of Mr. Kerr, was his first name Wayne?
My Mr. Kerr, whose last name was Kerr, was Hugh. Which is less funny, but does still conjure images of what is a Hugh Kerr. Yeah.
Are you sure that his middle name wasn't Hugh, making it sound a bit like Huge Wayne Kerr?
Huge Wayne Kerr. Oh, no! I keep dying. We're getting close to Trapdoor time anyway. We're going to switch up the Trapdoor in just a minute. I'm going to have another go at this water level. I'm determined to do this water level. I don't expect to do the heart level, but I can finish, of a sort, the water level. I can finish it with a broken ring.
Cool.
In fact, that's what I used to do. I used to do this. I remember what I used to do as a kid.
Oh, okay. Let's have that then.
Because these pipes, you can slide down the pipes, you see. So what I used to do... There we go. What I used to do... It's not necessarily a good stream, but I'm going to do it. Because it's been... Can I still do this? Am I still capable of this? It's difficult.
Just realised.
Go ahead.
No, go on. And we reached an impasse. That was the end of Serial Points.
We're still going to do the stream. We're just going to sit in silence at each other, waiting for the others to speak.
I was going to talk about something irrelevant to the current endeavour that you're on, so perhaps you would like to say whatever it was.
Beans.
Was that what it was?
No, what I used to do is I used to go up here, murder the dolphins, and then slide down again, and that's how I finished the level.
How does that work? I thought you finished the level by saving the dolphin.
Yeah, you have to. In order to save the dolphins, you need to turn on the water, and I never figured out as a kid how to do that. But you can release the dolphins before the water has been poured, which obviously creates problems. What it does create in this game is some dead dolphins.
Right. Well, what I was going to say is that I remembered that that was a funny way to say remembered, that I started saying this earlier when I said that we were a 2 Amiga family. The reason I started saying this is that when we got the second Amiga that was all riced up and had a hard drive and 8 megabytes and everything, not on everything, that was it. The original a secondary position in the room from where my younger brother would sit while I was working on animations and whatnot, and I used to make, and he would play Captain Planet. You see, so that's what this music reminds me of. Is those days, my most productive era of my life, when I would sit and just work on cool stuff all day. I've spent my entire adult life trying to somehow reconnect with that feeling and that ability to just be making cool stuff at all times, and I'm not quite there. But,
no, it's tricky.
Yeah. He also used to play Super Cauldron. You ever play that?
I've never heard of Super Cauldron.
But have you heard of Cauldron, the classic C64 etc. game?
No, I had not.
Well, it's a game. Cauldron is a game in which you're a witch, and it's all Halloweeny, and you're a witch, and you're going around being a witch. It's really cool. But then Cauldron 2 is a game in which you're a pumpkin that boings around everywhere, and you have to like navigate it boingily. You have to figure out the physics of how it's going to boing. It's got a really big jump, and it's boinging all the time, and it bounces off everything. So it's a very interesting game.
Well, okay,
Cauldron...
here we go. What you're gonna see now is a dolphin leaping to its own death. Look at this.
Yeah.
Boom, dead, and the ring is cracked.
Brilliant. And it just explodes. Great.
Yeah. So that's one dolphin down. So
Cauldron 2 is a brilliantly cartoony game in which you're a witch, and I think I'm going to stream it sometime soon.
I think you
now,
should. Maybe next week. Well, we can't do it because it's not in keeping with the theme.
Doesn't tie in. No.
Look at this. Here
Sadly
he goes. And dead dolphin. All right, brilliant. So we've killed 2 of the dolphins. I think we've got 1 more to go before.
How does this help us to finish a level?
Well, the game registers that all the dolphins have been removed from the level and says, "Oh, you're finished," and opens the exit.
Oh.
Yeah, it counts it as a win state. I don't know that you can summon Captain Planet with with 1 or more broken rings. I suspect you can't, because the last level is you playing as Captain Planet, which I've never done.
Of course you haven't.
And the version I've downloaded of our friend Captain Planet it does have a trainer on it, which I've not yet tried.
Ah. I have here a digestive biscuit. I'm going to eat it. We're the Planeteers. Yep. You can be one too.
I can.
Because murdering dolphins is the thing to do.
It's all I'm good at. It's all I'm good for. You know what? My my high school career guidance counselor said I'd never amount to anything. Well, I'm killing every dolphin. I'm killing all the dolphins. This level postulates... The description for this level, at the very least, postulates that there's only 3 dolphins left in the world, and they're all being held captive for nebulous reasons, and that I am the only person who can rescue them, and instead I'm killing them all. Now, that's not amounting to nothing. That's something.
No. If you have wiped out the last of the dolphins...
There we go.
Then you're a hated figure, but a figure from history.
Yeah. I will go down in history as the guy who did that thing to those dolphins.
I know. Now, again, I'm fairly sure you were joking, but did your guidance counsellor at school say you would amount to nothing?
My guidance counsellor at school said, "Do you really want to do that?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "Eat that Mars bar during this counselling meeting." And I said,
"That is a solid yes."
I said, "Well, I do like a Mars bar." And he said, "You know what? Fair dues. You're going to be president." And I said, "That's impressive. We don't have a president." And he said, "Well, you'll see." And then he winked knowingly.
Yep.
I think we're going to switch to Trapdoor at this particular moment in time.
Then? Okay. So, next game we're going to play then, Trapdoor, based on... who made Trapdoor?
Macmillan Limited. It was programmed by Don Priestley.
No, I mean the TV series.
Oh! Macmillan Limited. It was programmed by Don... I don't know.
Oh, that's very interesting. It was stop-motion animated by Don Priestley. This is a game I've wanted to play my whole life. It's on the Spectrum. I'm not playing it now, but I'm going to watch Ben play it. Because Don Priestley made one of my favourite games of all time, which is Popeye on the ZX Spectrum. A game that absolutely changed my life, but which I'm not allowing to go in serial ports because it's too important to me and I have to do my own stream of it. And after that, maybe we could play it on serial ports, but as I don't seem to be getting around to doing the stream, who knows when that'll be. But instead, we have Trapdoor. This, a kids' TV series by somebody, and it was clay animation of these blobby people living in a big Halloween castle. And this Spectrum game is allegedly good.
It's an interesting... Now, I don't know how I've done this. I think I think it might be accidentally mapped to the keyboard, if I'm being completely honest. I don't know how this... But he's just kind of moving on his own at the moment.
Right.
But give me a can of worms. I don't know. Let me try resetting this thing.
Yes.
So this is actually... I haven't had a chance to test this, but this is my first exposure to Firstly, I never owned a Spectrum, so the Spectrum I've had very minimal experience with. Secondly, my first experience with Trapdoor the game is happening right now on this stream.
Well, that's good. You know, me too. I can't help you, but I feel as if that's something that's within our remit, is to play games we haven't played before. So I sort of feel in my heart as if I ought to help you with the emulator there, but I don't know. A minute ago, you seem to have it down, and now it's just the base ROM screen.
Well, it's not that I had it down; it's that I chose joystick input, but I don't think Spectaculator was seeing this bad boy. So I think that what it was seeing instead was my mouse, and using that in the same way that if you ever plugged a mouse into the Amiga and told the Amiga it was a joystick, it would just kind of do whatever it wanted.
Yes, I think you're going to have to. I think you should use keyboard controls, because that would have been the native control system for this.
Oh, lovely!
Snap corner.
Lovely bit of vanilla Coke for breakfast.
That sounded a lot like someone who doesn't have a British accent trying to do one.
It does.
But you just finished having one a moment ago. That sounds natural, so I don't know how that...
it's a skill. I don't know what skill it is, but it is one. Should this Amiga be... Not this Amiga. Should this Spectrum be doing more than it presently is?
Definitely it should. I'm not quite sure what the problem here is that you surmounted a moment.
I'd restarted the Spectrum without the disc in the drive.
I suppose we don't know why it says Piranha there when it's made by Macmillan Limited rather than a Piranha.
Well, maybe Macmillan Limited is the company that created Trapdoor as a concept, and Piranha is the company that developed the game.
All of that is possible.
Okay, so Z. This seems needlessly complicated. X and Z are left and right. A and
Q.
But
they don't. Yeah, but Ben, they don't need to be. Just press R, and you can redefine your own keys.
Oh. Right. Left. Down. Up. Drop. Tip. Hold. Well, I suppose what I could do is I could do Wasad. Let me do that.
Yeah.
Right. Left.
That's what I did
down,
when I last
up.
emulated a Spectrum game, which was, I think, the day before yesterday.
Oh, there's no keypad. All right. There we are. Let's try that. So I'm using Wasad, and then I'm using left, down, right for drop, tip, and hold. So let's see how that goes. I'm going to go for Learner Book.
Yes.
Here we are.
Oh, there we go. Look at you big waddly man.
There's a trapdoor. I've opened the trapdoor.
Oh, don't you open that trapdoor!
No, I've closed it.
You're a fool if you dare. That skull in the background, that is your friend. He is kind of a sort of butlery kind of a skull. Burke, get me a can of worms. Okay, so evidently we have to do what the terrible voice upstairs tells us to do, and I'm thinking
there's depth of field. Look at that.
Oh, yeah, there is. So I think that looks like a dumbwaiter to me, and I think you're going to have to put things in it. But then that's a total guess. I absolutely don't know. In fact, I ought to find out. Let me look up the instruction manual on World of Spectrum.
Good thinking. This appears to be some kind of weight.
Ooh. Better be careful of that then. You're about to get squashed.
I didn't.
Ooh, better close, wasn't it?
Now I'm up here.
So yeah, now what I loved about Don Priestley's games, or at least the one I played, is that yes, he does have this depth of field, and he creates little complicated lands for you to walk about in, and you start to sort of learn the layout of them, and there's ups and downs and behinds and rounds, and it's lovely.
It's fascinating. Is this a can of worms?
I don't think so. But then I don't know what it is.
It is nothing.
Right. Okay. Oh, I was looking up the game so that I can read the instructions, because, of course, in those days, you did need to read the instructions.
Yes. The Spectrum. You know what we should be playing is the Spectrum version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Hey, I'm up for that.
Oh, he's getting more. You can. There's like a cross meter at the bottom of the screen. Can you see that?
Oh, that's what that was. Yes,
and
of
this
course.
appears to be the sewers.
Oh, careful. That doesn't look healthy to me. No, he seems to be comfortable wading and sloshing his way through the sewers. Okay. Right, let's see. English instructions. Hold that up. The Trapdoor, a program by Don Priestley. Somewhere in the dark and nasty regions where nobody goes stands an old and spooky castle, home of the bad-tempered Thing. In the dark lower regions of the castle, Burke grudgingly slaves away, carrying out the orders of the Thing. To win his ultimate reward, a safe full of loot, Burke has to complete up to 5 bizarre tasks, 4 in learner mode, quickly and accurately, before the Thing's anger boils over. Each task is completed when Burke sends his offering upstairs on the dumbwaiter, right? And the Thing accepts it. Learner Burke. Before the game starts, you can choose to be a Learner Burke or a Super Burke. When you first play, it's a good idea to try the humble Learner mode. It's easier, even if you don't score so highly or earn Burke's pay. Under the trapdoor lurk horrible monstrosities, all eager to escape as soon as the trap is opened. Most have a useful role in completing Burke's tasks. The problem is knowing which monster is needed for what task. If the wrong one gets out, it can be a real time waster and a danger to life and limb. Get rid of wrong-uns, brackets, somehow, as quickly as possible. Hello.
I just discovered that this is a thing I can do.
Good. What?
I can actually go down here. I thought I couldn't.
If the trapdoor is left open, spooks fly out. Like almost everything in Burke's world, they are hungry, and the only way Burke can get rid of them is by feeding them. They'll eat anything. Worms, eggs, eye juice, eyes, even Boney the Skull. If Burke hasn't got food to hand, the spooks will send him reeling. In Learner Burke mode, the spooks will have been given a holiday and won't trouble you.
Oh, good.
And that's as far as the instructions go on the particular scan of the inlay that I'm looking at. Let me skip to the text version. Boney and Drut. Boney is pretty bright as skulls go. Each time Burke picks him up, he utters a few words, sometimes useful advice on how to complete a task. Drut the spider spends his time hopping about, getting in Burke's way and eating worms. It's hard to get rid of him. The tasks can all be done. Wait for the Thing to announce what it wants, then get cracking. All the props for the tasks can be found in the lower regions, but you'll need some ingenuity to figure out how to use the various objects and their contents. Each task needs, for completion, a particular trapdoor monster. The anger meter at the bottom of the screen warns you that time is running out. When the Thing gets really mad, it yells at Burke that time is up. If Burke hasn't finished, then the task at hand is cancelled and a new one is set. Containers. Burke can shove some objects, and a shoved object can shove other objects. Burke can put things into containers, carry them around, and tip out the contents. Some are vital to particular tasks. Your score reduces as the time ticks by and increases with bonuses for the successes you achieve. Your real objective is to become Super Burke. A Super Burke. If Burke completes all the tasks, he'll be awarded his wages. Thing sends them down in a tough-looking safe. To get his loot and become a true Super Burke, the safe has to be opened. There's an exact procedure that guarantees success, and finding it is the real final challenge. Once you've figured out how to carry out the task, you can start using strategy to maximize your score. For example, if you complete a task early, you can make preparations for any of the other tasks. Objects already in the best locations can save time later and win you extra points.
Interesting. So I have a can. I need to figure out how to put worms in it.
Well, it already will have worms in it. You just have to take it to the trapdoor and open the trapdoor to release the worms. It says here. And then you've got to try and collect them before Drut eats them. So I think you're going to have to... It says open the trapdoor to release the worms. So you've got the can. You open the trapdoor to release worms for the can. And then you pick up the worms and put them in the can.
So you said don't you open that trapdoor, when what you meant was... There we go.
You've got to open it. Yeah. You see, this is kind of complicated to look at, but it's definitely a good game. This was a very interesting and original approach to making a game on the Spectrum at all, whereas usually they were, Jet Set Willy platformers or text adventures and stuff. This is quite a novel.
I
way of going
genuinely
about.
don't know how to pick up these worms.
Well, I think you're probably supposed to put down the can. Let me have a look at the tip I was looking at. It says all it says is drop the worms into the can.
Or maybe I have to pick up the worms then.
I think you do. I think you put down the can and pick up the.
There are more worms. No, I'm holding something. I'm holding
No, that's
nothing.
just where. That's just where his hands go. That's so that there's only one sprite needed, so that when you are holding something.
And I have a
that
very
thing-
limited amount of time to get these worms. There we go. I've got one.
Yes. Oh, good. Well done.
Because otherwise, this yellow thing will eat them.
Yes. Okay, let's imagine you've put one in a can there.
God, I hope so. Let me grab the skull dude and see what he says. Nothing.
Under the... He did. He said it at the bottom.
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
No. Alright, so let's now put this in the dumbwaiter and see what happens.
How many worms have you got in there?
I think 2.
Oh, that should be enough. By the way, if anyone watching this hasn't watched the series Trapdoor, do it. It's great.
Yes.
It's all on YouTube, so you'll find it there easily.
Blimey, this is a tricky game. Where are the worms? Get them. I guess I didn't get any worms. Blimey, Spectrum games were rough to play.
Yeah. Some of them were. Don Priestley's games are heavier than most Spectrum games because he's making the fullest use of the graphical capabilities of the machine, and so it's very slow. I won't blame you if you want to. I'm sure there's a button somewhere on there to speed the emulation up. I'm not sure there is. You keep going. I'll find out because I've got my own copy here. Insisting that I don't own it and need to run the trial version, even though I absolutely do own it.
There we go. Check that out.
Yeah.
I am running out of time though.
Oh well, that will happen.
Oh, he's going to yell at me. I'm going to get yelled at. Too late. I've changed my mind. I want a bottle of eyeball crush. All right. Which I presume means I need to get eyeballs and crush them.
Yeah, maybe, or
I'm
put
going to
them
turn
in
the
something.
speed down a little bit because I had it going up 4 times speed. Now we're
I
going.
was going to say that's definitely too fast. What I'm looking at.
Yeah. So now we're going at double speed, which I think is a little bit more manageable. So where might one find eyeballs?
Indeed.
Let me ask Reginald He says sowing time. What the hell does that mean? Plant pots.
It says... Shall I tell you what to do? Because I've got a guide.
Oh, absolutely, please do.
Take the yellow pot from the kitchen and empty it.
I'll tell you what, this game got made. Take the yellow pot from the kitchen and empty it.
Yep, I suppose you press tip. Oh, there you go, yep. And then you go and get that.
Yep.
Okay, and then you take that box to the room left of the kitchen and you empty it.
All right. I think I'm in the kitchen. I think this is the kitchen.
Yep, so go one left from there.
Here?
And empty it here.
All right.
There you go. And what that should do is it says give you 3 small eyeballs, one for each pot. Gosh, I'm quite besotted with this. There's I'm sorry if you're going through an experience of trying to play this, but I'm really enjoying it. It's reminding me of life in the past. When the strange plant, while these strange plants grow, push the vat in the kitchen to the farthest wall.
To the left or to the right? Because that's...
Doesn't say. It just says the farthest wall. Hang on, let me read ahead and see if there's contextually any clues. I don't know. It doesn't say. But mind you, I suppose there's only one wall there, which is the one on the right.
It's also not letting me push it from this side. I can push it up. I can...
Oh, well. Maybe that's what it means then.
I could also push it from the left. I can't seem to push it anywhere. I didn't want to do that. You go away.
Oh, well. Let's not worry too much about that then. Let's wait and see what it's needed for. It says by this time the plants should have grown. So go back.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
It was letting me push it. There we go.
Oh, yes, because there was a push button, wasn't there? I think that's right. I think that's right.
Right.
So go back to the plants.
Hmm.
Because basically you're going to have to drop things into that vat, and that looks like a good place to do it. Oh,
This is haunting.
I'm loving this. This has some real sort of like Granny's Garden, but animated vibes to it. And in the vat they go. Although I wouldn't have ever thought of doing that. I would have thought to put them in the cauldron if I was going to mix anything with them. Oh, but then I suppose what we're trying to do is crush them. Which apparently is something you do in a vat.
Yeah, that seems to be the... This is a choice.
Hmm.
We're going to run out of time again before we get to make him his eyeball soup. Or
Oh,
whatever.
that's a shame.
I can see it happening. That meter at the bottom is looking ominously full. But I feel like we got further with this one than we did with the can of worms.
Hmm.
Okay, so now they're all in the vat.
Good. Now you need to open that trapdoor.
Alright, well I guess I'm going to do that thing that the TV show went to great pains to tell me not to do.
They made it very famous that you shouldn't do it. Oh, well that's not right. You shouldn't have got a worm. There we go.
This thing?
There we go. Yeah. Oh, well, possibly. Ah, no. Perhaps not. What we're looking for is a jumpy up and downy monster. Oh, too late.
It wants me to do something else now, but it hasn't told me what it is yet.
Okay.
Oh, this is, you got some fried eggs. I wonder if I can make that happen.
Fried eggs. Okay, number one, get a bird out of the trapdoor.
He's a needy bugger, isn't he?
He is. So without this guide, we would just be mucking about, doing stuff, seeing what happens all the time.
I am now being chased by this monster from the trapdoor, who's got a
That's the trouble.
flamethrower.
I think you can get him back into the trapdoor again by opening the trapdoor, so just try that.
He does keep murdering me, though.
I now have a very small crumb of digestive in my throat, so I'm probably going to be
Beautiful.
continuing to cough.
Nope, he's just straight up killing me every time now.
Whoops.
I kind of wish I was playing this with a controller. I'm not enjoying the keyboard experience. I think it would be more enjoyable with an actual Spectrum. But I'm...
Possibly not. I mean, it was perfectly fun to play games in this manner in those days, but then we knew no better, you know?
I've been murdered. I am in a situation... I'm in an unwinnable situation now. No matter what I do, I am murdered.
Right. I wonder if there's anything we can do about that person. Let me see if I can find anything. It's a fire-breathing robot.
Yeah.
To get rid of the creature, raise the weight and lure the robot under it.
Oh.
Then it'll drop and crush it. So you really do have to just try stuff and muck about. If you were playing this, you know, in the old days without a guide to follow, it really would be a case of just noodling about and being amused by the things that actually work.
Yeah.
And finding that when nothing works and it isn't happening, that's just a normal process of playing a ZX Spectrum game, which, to be fair, it sort of was.
I did leave the trapdoor open.
I'm not seeing the fire-breathing... Ah, there he is. Right, so now you want to try and lead him under that weight.
I wish I could bring the weight to him, because then I would carry that weight. Carry that weight a long time.
Wait a long time.
Yeah, there he is. Fire-breathing monster. I was saying monster as a pejorative, not as a description.
But
oh, he's trapped! He's trapped! Look at this!
Oh, is he? Well, pick up the bottle then. That's what he's trapped behind.
No, because he keeps... Every time I get close enough...
But he fire breathes you. Oh, no.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do. We've created a no-win scenario. It's like trying to free a trapped wasp.
Yeah. Well.
There really should be like a free play mode where you're not asked to do things, but you can just kind of explore the castle.
Yeah.
Which I guess kind of is what Lernerberg is.
Well, sort of, but it doesn't seem to be working out for you.
Are you coming?
Oh, you managed to free him then?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The weight fell.
Would you like to play some Lemmings?
That's kind of become our go-to everything's bad, hasn't it? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and close this. And I'm going to launch WinUAE again.
Whee! WinUAE! Oh, I turned into your start menu then.
You did. Hang on, let's do it again. Way! What's on my start menu? It's Audacity, it's Scrivener, it's Notepad++.
Oh, do like a bit of Scrivener.
Oh, I love a bit of Scrivener.
Oh, I love Scrivener.
Oh, dirty Scrivener. Nope, that's too much. No, what I have to do is I do have to...
What a stroke of luck that there wasn't anything embarrassing on your start menu pinned icons.
There almost never is.
No.
Oh, I now need to... Oh!
Oh?
The emulator's crashed.
Oh!
Oh.
Which one? WinUAE?
WinUAE has crashed. I'm going to try...
WinUAE?
I'm going to try resetting it.
Yep.
Because what I also need to do is I need to move the window.
Yeah, a little bit. That looks promising. There it is, Skid Row. I'm putting the stream audio on so I can listen to it.
Oh, here we go. I have to turn off all the... Yeah, this has definitely become our...
Yep.
Our bail. This is our we've given up. It's too much.
Oh, I'm now listening to the Skid Row tune back on the stream, and it's the really good one.
Yes.
That's got a bit that sounds like it's about to be a car revving up, and then it turns into a guitar solo.
Yes.
Love that one.
It's pretty great. Oh, I'm going to crank up the speed on the floppy disk emulation.
Ah.
And I'm going to enable the sound of the floppy disk because I'm that kind of person.
Yeah. Matt Speaks Word says, what would you have pinned to the start menu that would be embarrassing? Well, Matt, for some reason, my laptop that I use for Scrivener, my writing laptop that I take to the cafe and do writing in, not allowed to do that these days, it, for some reason, has a little widget which shows... random pictures from presumably my hard drive. Now, as it happens, I think I only have one picture in the... I don't know whether it's like a history widget, whether it's things I've looked at, or whether it's trawling my pictures folder or whatever it is. But there's only one picture in there, and it's of a random little old woman who... the reason I've got her picture saved is that when I first... I can't remember under what circumstances I did this, but I needed to look for a generic little old woman for something. And I typed that in, something like little old woman or whatever. And the woman that came up as one of the first responses looks so exactly like my Nana that I genuinely wasn't sure if it was her or not. and she looks so similar that I kept it there. And that was years ago. It was like 2 years ago. I don't know how long ago. It was ages ago anyway. And but she's still there on somewhere on my hard
She
drive.
lives in your computer now.
She lives in my start menu. Increasingly, the tone of that changed 2 weeks ago when the Nana in question died.
Oh.
And there she was, or there was a close facsimile of her, peering back at me from my start menu when I sat down to do some writing. So yes, it's possible that I can only imagine some of the embarrassing photographs that might be lamenting on a person's hard drive that could randomly pop up due to some widget that came pre-installed with the computer. But
there was a very nice number on the release rate for a second there, but we've lost it. Oh, this is a tough one. I've gone to taxing.
Oh.
Fun, tricky, taxing, mayhem. Those are the difficulties. So we've gone straight on to taxing. Do loves me some Lemmings. I never finished Lemmings 2.
No, there was too much of it to play.
Yeah.
I preferred it though, you know. I was a Lemmings 2 kid. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, because what Lemmings 1 did was it was like, here are the tools of Lemmings, and here are a number of levels that you're going to find your way through with the tools we've established. Whereas Lemmings 2 was like, for literally any idea we can come up with on the spot, this level you might have a super lemming, and in this level you might have glue pouring lemmings, and that's different from concrete pouring lemmings. And it just there was millions of different skills for the Lemmings to have in Lemmings 2. And that was very inspiring to me. I used to sit down and draw my own Lemmings levels. A wave of melancholy came over me there as I remember that memory is inextricably tied up with going round Nana's house and showing her, because my mum was like, David, show her the thing you draw. Because Mum was quite impressed with these Lemmings levels I used to draw, because they were so small. The Lemmings were tiny little micro dot Lemmings. I used to sharpen my pencil right to a point and get right in and draw tiny little Lemmings walking around on levels. And then I would, just make up my own skills for them to have that they required for that level. And I would do little diagrams of where you would use that skill and what would happen. And they turned into these dioramas. I must find them. I'll have some lying around somewhere.
I've gone back to tricky because taxing was slightly too taxing. I used to also design Lemmings. I used to design Lemmings levels and maps for worms.
Yes. I didn't design maps for worms in the on paper sense, but I used to draw them in D-Paint to turn them into actual levels.
Well, the manual for the original Amiga version of Worms used to recommend drawing the map out first, so that's what I did. That was part of my process as a kid.
Oh, I see. Oh, well, yeah, but yes, you see, I wasn't when I was drawing maps, it wasn't because I thought it would be a good layout for a level that I wanted to test. It was because I thought it would be funny to draw a big picture of me lying down and the worms would be blowing me up. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
It would be very much a cartoon landscape that I just wanted to have a level of.
Yeah.
I ought to say Mickey Husky is being very useful and has been for a long time in the chat, and I just wasn't looking at it. Mickey said that Piranha Games published the game and that the worms were in the trapdoor and that we had to open it to get them and then put them in the can in the kitchen, things like that. And
gave us the name of the Skid Row music. I just saw that.
Just said, that the Skid Row music is called LFF by 4-Matt, whose name is Matthew Simmons, and that means that I can now open my folder of globules. The reason the folder is called globules is that on the Amiga, when you made music in ProTracker, those were called music modules or .mods, and so I used to amusingly name my floppy disk of mods globules because I was very funny.
You were very shrewd and smart and comical.
That's right, and I still have a folder on my modern hard drives. It is if my hard drive would please think about spinning up. I've got about 20 of the flipping things now, so they take a long. It takes a full 2 minutes to reboot my PC because they all have to spin up one by one before it'll even deign to switch the monitor on. And that very much emulates a broken computer, so it's nerve-wracking every time. And the only way to get through it is to set a little stopwatch going on my phone. Music / absolutely nothing. I'll tell you why in a minute. /globules. Here we go. And if I now type in... Oh, am I going to be able to put full stops in the search field?
I think so.
LFF. Oh, no titles match your search. Do I really not have it? Let me try format.
I use a little tool on Windows called Everything.
I've heard of it.
It's very, very, very good. Very good. It's very good.
Yeah.
It's very good. I'm a writer, so I'm interested in words, and I think it's very good.
Right. I'm going to have to manually scroll to the L's. Well, no, I'll just hit the L key and see what I find. Well, at least there's Lars. I've got Lars. Whap-bam boogie.
That particular piece of music from the Skid Row intro was also used in one of the Charlie Chimp games. I don't know if you remember Charlie Chimp.
I don't.
Oh, I'm about to lose a lemming. There we go. Which means I've already failed this level. It's my fault.
Oh dear. I'm going to do something experimental here, and you won't know about it on the stream because I'll be doing it privately.
I would personally. I would do it privately.
So I found out what the problem is. It's LMM by format. Sorry about that, Mickey, but we got there together. Now, whether for some reason it's simply the copy I've got is saved wrong, or if it's actually called LMM, I don't know. But the one I've got is called LMM. So there it is. I've got it running in XM Play now with a bit of light reverb on to make it sound good.
Here's a thought. What if it is called LFF and the person who put it in that folder, who might have been you, renamed it LMM because they associate it with the intro of the Correct Road of Lemmings? Oh, titting balls! I'm going to finish this level if it's the last thing I do, and it will statistically be the last thing I do. I'm bad at games today. Ugh.
Oh. So yeah, I can recommend everybody a little app called XM Play, which is you can drag your .mods into that, and you can draw the speakers closer to one another so that it's nice to listen to on headphones. Then put a little bit of reverb on, and I've also found we've already had a Beatles reference that if you've got the Beatles mono songs, which of course is the correct version of many of them because it's how they were mixed, but they do sound a bit flat. Well, drop them in XM Play, put that little touch of reverb on, and it's very much a controllable amount of reverb, and it suddenly sounds great. Better than the stereo mixes by far.
I found out why it's not doing anything when I click on the Lemmings. I hadn't selected there we go. That tool there, I need to pick it. If I don't pick it, it don't do it.
It don't do it.
It don't do it, does it?
Really? So you were thinking because it's the only option on this level, it would be automatically selected.
I mean, on other versions of this game, it is. The Windows version, the PSP and PS2 versions would have automatically selected it.
Yeah.
Lots of innovations in later ports that improve the functionality of the game, but reduce the charm. Mostly the animation is reduced. I think we spoke about this last time.
We did, yeah.
Maybe next time we do a desperate Lemmings stream, I'll switch it over to Lemmings 2. I loved Lemmings 2 as a kid. As an adult, I don't enjoy Lemmings 2 as much. Dead. I don't enjoy it as much. I'm not going to finish this level. This stupid level. I'm going to do it one more time. One more time, and I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it properly and normally. I did it really slick and quick last week.
Right. I didn't see that lemming die, so I don't even know under what circumstances it could happen.
It fell too far. This level is called We All Fall Down. If they fall from this ledge here, that's
so they all
too
have
far.
to dig.
They all have to dig. But what I typically do is I'll set the release rate to somewhere between 40 and 50, and that way you only have to click on every other one because they're released at just fast enough a rate that one of them will drop into the pit that the next one's digging.
Well, there's some knowledge then.
Yeah, but if the release rate is too quick and there's a gap, then they'll climb over that gap. So that lemming there is fine.
Right.
And I only have to do every other one now.
Lemmings is great.
Oh, it's such a great game.
It's just so good. Do you remember the time when new games were invented and they weren't in anyone else's engine necessarily, and they weren't always, and of course there was plenty of clones of existing games, but sometimes someone would come up with a completely new game that was like totally new. I love it. It sometimes happens to me.
people said Worms was new, but it was just Scorched Earth with or Gorillas.
Oh, true.
Yeah, new ideas do happen, but they're far and few between. Everyone's too busy making, cookie cutter first person shooters.
Yeah. The one that I always point to whenever anybody either asks for, like, where's an original sort of a game, or what game should I buy on Steam, I always say Gunpoint. Do you know Gunpoint?
I don't. I'm not familiar with it.
Absolutely fantastic. Imagine this. A cross-section of a building patrolled by security guards. You are a small secret agent in magical trousers that make you jump very far.
Yes,
and
of course.
What you can... The jumping is almost incidental. It just makes things nicer to do. But what the actual thrust of the game is that you can hack the electronics in the building. So you can, silently, without anybody noticing, connect certain things to other certain things, which will make it so that when this patrol guy comes into a dark room and switches on the light, the electronics for the light are connected to the door, which will spring open and crush him against the wall. Or, if he gets out his gun to try and shoot you, you've rewired his gun to set off an electric thing somewhere that electrocutes him and dispatches him. Absolutely flipping brilliant game. I'm going to have to do streams of it soon. It's wonderful. Everybody go and buy it. I love it. Gunpoint.
Well, that sounds absolutely delightful.
It really is. And also, just as a little delight cherry on the delight cake, it's one of those games where it's all done in pixel art, and you get to pick the screen resolution, and depending on that, it'll either be super duper zoomed out 1-to-1 pixels on the screen, no way you can play it, but you can see the whole, it fills the screen still, so you can see the whole landscape, or you can have it nice and zoomed in. You get to pick. It's nice.
It's quite nice.
It's nice.
Oh, that's nice.
It's nice. We're writers.
Oh, they're nice. I'm dangerously close to. We are 2 weeks away from recording the first 2 episodes of my sci-fi comedy audio play series. I'm very excited.
Oh,
yeah. It's either going to be very good or quite bad. But
it's not as if you've never done anything anywhere in the wheelhouse before. I'm sure it'll be good.
My default setting is cautious optimism.
Yeah.
No! I lost one of my lemmings. Oh well.
Well, that's not very optimistic of you.
Yes, in many ways that's my fault, isn't it? I mean, it is, because I
is.
I didn't click fast enough, and now Gerald is dead. That's how that works.
That's absolutely your fault. But I'm slightly distracted because I've once again put the brilliant LMM by format on, so I'm switching that off again because it turns out I can't think while also listening to such a
club banger.
Brilliant sound. Yeah. God, it's a good little tune. Get that on your ears. Get also Space Debris.
Get that on your ears.
Get it right onto your ears. Perch it right on there, on the tips.
Oh, I've got a climber. Here we go. He climbing. There we go. Oh, he fell. Oh, I fell.
What's the point of that?
Well, the climber, I'm going to put a climber up here to make him a blocker.
Yeah.
And because then I have to have a digger or a miner go diagonally here.
Why?
So that it lines up nicely with the ladder. I mean, strictly speaking, it's not what it has to do, but that's how I very much like to do things.
Nope. You're absolutely right. There was me thinking you should simply climber all of the lemmings, but you probably don't have enough climbers.
I definitely don't have enough climbers.
Look at them climbing there. The little animations!
Gorgeous. Oh, they're gorgeous.
God.
Oh, look at them. They're gorgeous.
Oh, this game. It's so good. What bit of music have you got going there?
It's 10 green bottles.
Ah.
A little bit more alignment, as 'twere.
Still haven't got around to listening to the cut version of the Lemmings soundtrack that you sent me last time. I still have to.
It's a fascinating listen, I'll tell you that.
I mean, the tab's been open the whole time. I thought it had been like 2 days since the last time we did one of these, but no, a full week. I think that lockdown hasn't changed my perception of a week. It's just radicalized me about them. I'm now prepared to say that a week is not long enough or at least not in terms of productivity. It's definitely the right amount of time to spend between days off.
I want you to just admire my dig work here. Look at this.
I'm admiring your dig.
Admire my dig work. Admire, not LucasArts dig, my dig. Admire my dig.
Hey, come on, Ben. It's not a dig measuring contest.
I'm so angry. Ah, yes. Here's one I prepared earlier as the name of this particular level. I only need to save 20 of the 100 levels, 100 lemmings on this level.
So that's a...
Easy peasy.
Here's one I prepared earlier. That is a reference to television program Blue Peter. So it actually fits the remit of serial ports.
Yes. We did it!
Kids TV tie-in. We did it. All levels of Lemmings have been pre-prepared. So maybe the reference... Maybe you're going to do something Blue Peter-y to solve this level. Do you know what that reference meant?
Absolutely no idea.
No.
And no one knows. And that's really the great shame of this particular... This level's going to involve me doing a lot of pausing. Because I have to do this. And then I've got to...
Is there a pause key on the keyboard? Or do you have to go down and press pause?
It is the P key. Oh, hello.
The P key. And I've always admired how this game used a pair of paws as its pause button. You can see them there at the bottom.
Oh, beans!
Only game I can think of that did that. Do you think it'd be a gimme that they all would? As soon as somebody had established it as a norm, but no.
Yeah. But instead...
Oh, I've only just noticed that red scribble in the background going behind the little map.
I always wondered what that was as a kid.
Well, is it the scribble from the DMA design logo?
It is. It absolutely is, yeah.
With the two fellas glaring at each other.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I never. I mean, as a kid, I thought it was... Actually, am I thinking of the Spectrum version? I thought of it as like rolly bits from either side of a scroll. So maybe that's sufficiently different that I wonder if that actually is what it was on the Spectrum, which, as we've established, was my first...
I had the wrong tool up. I was trying to get him to build, and what I did instead... I'm going to restart this level.
No, on the Spectrum there wasn't a map to look at. There was only...
Oh, no, on the Spectrum there wasn't a map. Sorry.
There was only the absolutely banging AY chip version of Tim 4 or whatever it is. I'll close that before I listen to too much of it.
Oh, I've goobered it up. I'll get there eventually.
No problem. I'm going to just go and press the P key. I'll see you in a moment.
He does this at the end of every stream. He leaves me on my own. Bloody
yeah,
typical.
Sorry. Well, it's because I load up... Well, in this particular case, it was because I just had a big cup of tea an hour before we started, which was ill-timed, I think you'll agree. Sorry about that.
Absolutely. No, you go do your thing.
I'm gonna do one specific thing. And you can picture it if you like. Give me a moment.
So I think we all know what I'm gonna say. Oh, he's coming back. I don't know what he's doing. So this time we need to find another incongruous element of the background to ask him to comment on. So last time we did that Mario diorama. So what do we do this time? So on his bookshelf there appears to be a kind of a green cloth. So when he gets back, what you can all do is ask him, what's with that green cloth on your bookshelf? Just all of you at once, just ask him that question. It's I don't know if you can see it. He's got a row of books. I think they're Pratchett novels. And he has that green cloth kind of hanging out on top of it. So what's the deal with the green cloth? Just in bulk, in mass, go ahead and ask him what the deal is with the green cloth. I'm trusting you to do this, by the way. I'm trusting you to... There we go. There we go. Alright, so now... This level's rough. It's especially hard because I can hear the game music, but I can't really hear the clack, clack, clack of him putting the steps down. No! Oh no, that's too soon. Oh, it's too soon. How many lemmings are there? 1. Lovely. Alright. I might have done this. Alright, I think I might be fine. I've only had to kill some of the lemmings. Hang on, what's that? Are they getting stuck in turn? Oh, there's only one that's climbing over it because he's a climber. Okay. I'm with you now, Ben. Yeah, so remember when the green thing, what's with the deal with the green cloth on the bookshelf? We're going to run out of things, eventually. Although there's those little tartan booties as well. You can't see those. Never mind. Oh, no, you can see them a little bit. I nearly missed that one. Okay. I think we're going to do it. Alright. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and blow up this blocker. Because I think we've done this level. Okay, what's the deal with the green thing on the bookshelf? You ready? Okay. The cloth, green cloth. Hey, welcome back.
Hello, I'm back. Just as you said.
I summoned you back. You missed me. I did lose a lemming, but I was able to very expeditiously and very efficiently release one more lemming from the millipede to finish the job.
Great.
Here we
well
are.
done. Well, that's real good.
Did you enjoy your pee? Did you have a good time?
Neutral, I would say. Yes, I think it was just an ordinary experience.
That's probably the best you can hope for vis-a-vis urinating.
Yeah, I mean there are better and worse ones, aren't there? But on this occasion,
what would constitute a better piss?
Well, I suppose if you needed one more.
Just the enjoyment of the relief.
Yeah. I reckon probably the best one possible would be lying down in a shallow brook, nude.
Do you want to expand on that?
Okay. So, and by the way, it's very warm weather in this, so it's right. Imagine this: a scalding hot day. You, because of the lockdown, you're somewhere and there are no other people. You're
somewhere. Let me write this down.
Because of the lockdown, you're somewhere. No, you're somewhere where there is a babbling brook, but there's no people around because of the lockdown. So you're completely on your own. So what you do is you take all of your clothes off. It's again a searing hot day. You're very, very warm. You're covered in sun cream, so you don't have to worry about that. But you lie down naked in the babbling brook.
Yeah.
And while you're doing, and it's lovely, and the babbling brook is lapping across you. You're feeling great. It's very refreshing. Let's put an ice cold lemonade in your hand. Why not? Little straws coming out, ice.
Okay.
I don't know where you've got it from, in the middle of nowhere, but you've got it. And you're nude, and you're in this babbling brook. You're lying down. Why not just have a wee? What? There's no downside. Nobody can see you. You're in the water, so it's not like it's like unclean. You're being washed. And because you're lying down, you're at full relaxation. That's my point. You're at total bodily relaxation. And what? I suppose I could think of another thing that would be more relaxing, but no, I can't really. What I was referring to there was having a poo.
That would be horrible.
It would be, but also I was thinking of it as a state of further muscular relaxation. But actually, I take it back because there can be effort involved with such things. So I think that probably the most relaxed you can be is lying in a babbling brook on a warm day, having a wee.
I'm glad we've finally gotten to this on this show. It's been a long time coming. We've been building towards it. I really hope people have been following the clues in previous episodes.
All the foreshadowing we've been doing.
Yeah, we've been foreshadowing. Obviously, we've been hinting at it in the talkback show that we do after every serial reports. We spend 2 hours talking about the symbolism.
Yes.
What does bad wolf mean? Who knows?
Come on, though. Name me a better wee than that.
Just in the shower. Just standing in the shower.
No. You see, I thought of that, and I was gonna upgrade it to being under a waterfall, right? Because I thought that felt like more pleasant, right?
Like it's a Pantene Pro V commercial.
Exactly. They never show you from the waist down in those. You can't tell they're having a wee.
Urinating for the duration. She's that relaxed.
Come on, wouldn't you? If you were having a shower in a waterfall.
Was it Pantene Pro V that did the woman in the waterfall? There was a different one, wasn't there?
Let's imagine so. I don't know. But it could have been Nivea Sun or something.
Nivea. I think it might have been Nivea. It was one of those.
Do. But having a wee in a shower, right? It has one drawback, and this is why I didn't bring up. Sorry.
Splash damage.
No, don't mind that. This is why I didn't bring up the waterfall idea and moved on to a horizontal. You're having to stand. That's effort. Yes, that would be a satisfying piece of urination you'd be doing there, but not as satisfying as if you were in total relaxation, like lying down, and with the added knowledge that you're not making anything in the world worse. So, for example, it would probably be quite satisfying to be to be in bed, but then you know that what you're doing is you're wetting a bed. There are massive downsides to doing that, even in the moment. It's not just about cleanup afterwards. At the time you're like, I'm not enjoying this. There's a downside to this. So, whereas if you're in a babbling brook on a hot day with a lovely, you've got a lemonade in one hand, a Calippo in the other.
You've thought this through a lot more than I think any other human being has thought about what's the most relaxing way.
Yeah, but you asked me though. That's why
listen,
I thought it through. I took the question seriously.
I'm not denying that I have asked you, but I still question your commitment to the bit. I think that's the nub of it. There's too much commitment. Come
Mickey
with me and you'll pee.
Mickey Husky, that's it. That's his whole brief.
Oh no!
The entire chocolate factory.
Yes.
Mickey Husky has asked me, what is the deal with the green cloth that I've got on the bookshelf behind me?
A couple of people have asked about that. And
Becky Jewell goes, is it a green cloth? I'll tell you exactly what it is. You may find this interesting. Let me go over and get it.
It's not going to be interesting at all. It's going to be quite dull. You have a very long headphone cable. That is impressively long.
Yeah,
I'm deeply impressed by your length, sir.
Well, I thank you. Well, I recently purchased a slightly longer cable, but let me tell you, I've got an extender cable that I could optionally plug in to make it even longer. So here is the green cloth. And yes, indeed, it is a length of green cloth. It's an incredibly big green cloth. And what you might be thinking is Dave is going to set up a green screen with it. But that wouldn't be the case. I could, and maybe I should, but I actually have a green screen. You know, one of those things where it's like it's folded up in a bag, but when you throw it, it goes out into a bigger thing. And I've got a green screen of that.
Oh,
now actually,
it's like one of those instant tents.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same thing, but it just makes a circle in this case, and then you have to remember how to fold it up. Well, what I have here is green of the kind of green you might use in a green screen, and indeed that's what I used it for, but not as a green screen. Here's what I did. I took it, I folded it up, and I put it on as a scarf.
Oh.
And that was how I put my head out for my Doctor Who song. And do you know what I discovered as I was doing that? I discovered that when you put on a scarf, it creates this little triangle. It's inescapable, even if you tighten it as hard as you can around your chin.
Okay, I'm learning things.
You really strangle yourself with.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, there will always be a little corner of neck that very quickly, there it is. The scarf falls and reveals a little bit of neck. And so now I have the answer to the question that I've had burning in my soul for what I think is 26 years, which is, why on earth did they allow Zordon to have a little corner of neck sticking off the side of him at all times? And it's because they were using a scarf to do the green screen on.
Beautiful.
So there you go. And I haven't used it since then. That's still sat there on that shelf since then. I don't know if you can see that behind it
Bollocks.
is... let me move my chair out of the way. Can you see, poking out of my Discworlds and my VHS copy of Alice in Wonderland, my two light umbrellas that I use for my YouTube? That's just somewhere I keep them.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a fascinating story.
I've got that Alice in Wonderland VHS there. I'm very excited about it because I'm going to digitize the adverts. It's one of the first Disney VHS tapes ever, and it was in the UK anyway. And whenever you look up Alice in Wonderland, if you look up old VHS tapes on YouTube, you can find people have digitized the adverts from them. And
that's
look, if you're around in those days, the trailers at the start were part of the film, and you've got to have them. But nobody's done the first Alice video, only one from about 1995, like a bunch of young people. So I'm going to digitize that, and
as well you should.
Yeah, the only reason I haven't is because about a month before the lockdown, around about, my PC simply died, and I had to replace the bits in it, and I've yet to get so much as I haven't done any video making during quarantine because I haven't installed any video making software.
It's nice to have a convenient excuse like that, isn't it? It lets you gives you a chance to really procrastinate.
I mean, exactly. I suspect it's the other way around. I think, in fact, that it may be a sign, and perhaps, fortunately, I think my only sign of some kind of internal depression over the state of affairs that I haven't got round to doing that. But I want to. I've got lots of videos that I'd love to make. Yeah. That really now is the perfect time to make. So
I can't remember if I told you about this, but watching, I don't know if you saw the latest movies with Mikey, but Mikey did an episode about Breath of the Wild.
No, not yet. I've been saving it for just a moment when I need that, because his videos are so happy and pleasant and positive.
His video on Breath of the Wild has made me want to go back and look at, and I think I've already spoken to you, but I spoke to someone about this. No, it was Ashley Day at Team 17 I spoke to about this. I want to do a 6-part series. I haven't decided on what I'm going to call it yet, but I'm thinking of a history of games that had either had their start or an early start on the Amiga that are still, the franchises are still alive and kicking today. Things like Worms and Lemmings and the Settlers to a certain extent. Sorry, that's my you're talking too much about the Amiga bell that I have programmed.
I would say, being as there is a Settlers game currently being made and about to be released, that puts it at a higher state of still existing as a franchise, even than Lemmings.
Yeah. In fact, they re-released all of the previous Lemmings games. I can now play the original Lemmings in a Windows version.
Oh.
Not Lemmings, Settlers.
Settlers.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. Yeah, the History Collection or whatever it's called. Edition.
The only downside is the music is the MS-DOS version, not the...
Well, that is absolutely unacceptable. So the answer is to have a YouTube tab.
That's exactly what I do. That is what I do, yeah. I wish the original Settlers, I wish that they'd coded network play on that, because I would love to play online with people. What I'll have to do instead is do a split screen. I told you about that Amiga emulator, FSUAE, which lets you play, it has NetPlay. So you can have multiple people basically emulating the same Amiga. So I could have a one-on-one Settlers game with someone.
Yeah, because Settlers had the vertical split screen, didn't it, rather than horizontal. Yeah, it was you had 2 mouse pointers. It was fascinating.
Very ahead of its time.
That's difficult to do now. And like a computer doesn't really accept dual mouse inputs these days, does it? But on the Amiga,
could do it. Yeah, the Amiga had your 2 mouse pointers. I remember playing competitive Lemmings with people.
Yeah.
Me and my sister used to play Lemmings all the time competitively. We didn't have 2 mice. I gave her a joystick and I beat her every time, but that's how we played it.
I mean,
yeah.
Yes, so to play 2-player Settlers, you had to have your friend over and they had to bring a mouse.
That's what we I would go over my friend Adam's place. This was, of course, before he stole my chuffing Game Boy. Adam.
Oh, is this the Adam that earlier you said, well, I say friend?
Yes, this is the same Adam. I will never forget this Adam. This Adam... No. I will hold a grudge against this Adam to the end of time, because the only reason we were friends is because our mothers had gone to school together.
Right.
That was why we had that connection.
Yeah.
It was just that.
I kind of regret the fact that I didn't stay in touch with those kids that were just my mum's uni friends' kids or whatever. You know, like that's I don't know why. It just seems like something for my mum's sake. You know, I think that's something that she probably wanted to happen and didn't. Yeah, I don't remember falling out with any of them. They just, lived far away or whatever.
No, Adam Hurd stole my Game Boy. Fuck him.
He just stole it. Just
flat out. What he did was he asked, we're going on holiday to Germany. Can I borrow your Game Boy? Yes, you can. Oops, I've left it in Germany. Oh no!
My
By
God.
shocking coincidence, I've just acquired a new Game Boy with the exact same carry case accessories and games that you had.
Oh my God.
Well, give me back my Game Boy. No, this is my one.
That is so bad that your mum should now not be friends with his mum.
Well, I never took it to my mum. I honestly, to this, I couldn't tell you why.
What?
I don't know. I think it was just one of those things where, I've been bamboozled. I can't tell anyone about it. Honestly, I don't know what my thought process was. I think it was just one of those things.
Something between it being a fair cop and it being too embarrassing to admit to.
I don't honestly know what my thought process was at the time, if I'm being completely honest.
Listen, you shouldn't have lent it him in the first place.
Yeah, fuck him.
To go to Germany?
Yeah.
Like, for a week? Yeah. To go to Germany?
Yeah, that was... Here's the thing. I did think he was a friend. I did have that thought. I thought, Adam, you're my friend. You've been... That
is a high level of friend, though, is to lend someone your Game Boy for them to then leave the country with that Game Boy.
Yeah.
Like, because I suppose under some other circumstance you could have lent it to him for a week or longer, and he might still have pulled the old, I lost it, and also I got a game.
Yeah.
Well, what did his mum think of this sudden Game Boy he owned?
I mean, what I imagine he did was he said to his mum, Ben's given me his Game Boy.
Yeah, it sounds
But
like
then
that,
why
doesn't it?
would you not then ask, hi,
That is
Jackie,
the big question.
did your son
Yeah.
give my son his
Yeah.
Game Boy?
And if so, what he's done there shouldn't really be done, because you bought that Game Boy
Yeah.
for your son. And yeah, that's something.
There's a lot of layers there, but I'm still I
Yeah.
still hold the grudge against Adam.
My friend who had a Game Boy, the first Game Boy owning friend I had, it was the last day. I have a sneaky feeling I've said this already on stream, but anyway, last day of term before Easter, 1993. These were in the days when, on the last day of term at primary school, you could bring in a toy. Did you have that?
No.
Ah, well, we did. You were
What
allowed to
what
simply...
a delightful dream that you lived in.
It was incredible. You were allowed to bring in one toy, and for most of the time throughout school, that was like, well, we'll bring, I'll bring in my teddy, I'll bring in, I can't even remember, because the memory of that wonderful last day of term before Easter 1993, when I was in my final year at primary school and I was all of 11 years old, that was the year when we suddenly realized, well, what if we turned this around? What if instead of bringing a teddy, what if instead of bringing one toy, what if we just brought, like, anything we wanted? And so people were bringing in games consoles. People were bringing in... I had my birthday present that year, which was a personal stereo, but that recorded. It had a microphone. So I still have a tape of that day.
Oh, wow.
Of the last day of term before Easter 93. And I can just listen to not an average day at school, a completely raucous, chaotic, wonderful day.
A very specific day at school, yeah.
Yes, but easily one of the top 3 days of my life, of all of primary school. And I still have it. It's right there, that I can put on any time. One of my prized possessions. Well, things went missing that day, as you can well imagine. And I'm not many. One thing that did go missing. Actually, I'm not sure if it was that day or if it was on the day when I brought it in to be optioned for play at a school disco we were having. But I brought in a tape called Children's World of TV themes. A tie-in with the shop Children's World. And it was a compilation made by Philip Schofield himself of children's television themes.
I do remember. We think we talked about this last time.
Because no, it was a few times ago because it was the one that had the Count Duckula remix on.
Yes.
That was what I was optioning for play at the disco. But of course, the teachers wouldn't even have bothered listening to it. What a ridiculous suggestion! But I lost that tape, and I I don't know if it was that day or what. But my
That's
friend,
heartbreaking.
that is nothing. My friend, who brought his Game Boy in.
Oh no! Oh no! 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 No!
He didn't lose his Game Boy, but he lost all of his games.
No.
Either except or including Robocop.
So he
definitely had
either did
Robocop.
or did not keep his copy of RoboCop.
Yeah, I either might be remembering it being the one he didn't lose, or I remember it being named specifically because it was the first one he did lose, or something like that. But like, we'd already become aware, excuse me, around about 2 p.m. that they were starting to be distributed and starting to disappear. And yes, by home time, they were all just gone, and he was in tears. And it was very awkward because we were, our family and his were going out that evening together. And so to the theatre, as it happens, to a production of Roald Dahl's The Witches at what can only have been the Belgrade in Coventry, I can imagine. And there was a lot of shouting done to him by his dad before that, and it was very awkward.
Yes, I can imagine. Like, looks a lordy.
Yeah, I'm just going to investigate why it sounds like someone is trying to break into our flat. I think it's probably because Abby is taking the bins out or something. Sarah?
Now we need to find something else. Quick, ask him about the tartan booties. Quick, tartan booties, lower right corner.
Sorry, nobody is breaking in, and Abby isn't even trying to leave.
So,
if there's something I discourage,
tartan booties, lower right corner.
Doing a bit of the old wiping down of groceries.
Ah, of course, it's essential. Everyone's texting me right now. Matt Speaks Words says, surprise, surprise, I always bought a board game. We didn't have this in my school. Why are you allowed to bring things into school and I'm not? I was just saying, Matt Speaks Words says, surprise, surprise, I always bought a board game. It blows my gourd that this was a thing people could do in schools in England where I very much grew up. Why was I not privy to this?
I mean, Gemma brought in the Game of Life. That's my one and only Game of Life memory. Well, let me tell you the final part of the story, which might it might slightly make up for some of the disgusting privilege of having been allowed to do this. So this was something that, as I say, happened every year throughout primary school, leading up to the final year, and we were leaving, and suddenly it got epic. This was when we were watching videos in one room. We were playing on our NES in one room. We had in another room, we had me and my best friend. We were playing the brilliant Tim Follin theme tune to Solstice on the NES on a big ghetto blaster for the privilege of the entire class to hear. And this was quickly vetoed by a boy who wanted to instead put on a hair metal band, which I now recognise probably the better option, but only just. And so it was pandemonium. Everything was absolutely brilliant and wonderful. There was, in the school hall, remote control cars whizzing around. Absolutely amazing. Game Boys on the playground. Me going around with my little tape recorder, getting little interviews with everybody. Absolutely pandemonium. Wonderful time. And you can only imagine how much we were looking forward to the actual last day. Because that was only the last day of term before Easter. The next one was the last day of primary school at all, and ours was the sort of primary school that went from like 5 years old all the way through to 18. That's 6 years, one school, no junior school, none of that. It was all one big school. So we are approaching the last day of term before summer 1993. It's going to be the most amazing day of our lives. And what is announced that day, and you could tell the teachers were annoyed as well. They apologized to us for this, and that wasn't something teachers did to children very often. An Ofsted inspection.
Oh, no.
That very day, the inspectors were going to be in. If you don't know, listeners, that's a school inspector who goes in, and on that day, your teachers make it appear as if your school is a model school where everything is absolutely perfect. Prayers in assembly, all of it. And we had to,
that's heartbreaking.
We had to just sit quietly and work on our last day
no.
at primary school. I haven't put it in these terms before, but I'm going to go as far as now to say that's child abuse. I do not think it is appropriate to schedule an inspection on the last day. I mean, quite apart from anything else, it's not fair on the school or the teachers. Like, of course, on the last day of term of any year, but let alone the kids' last year at school.
That's heartbreaking.
No, they're not going to be on their best behaviour. That's essentially looking for an excuse to fire all the staff. No. Bad. They were being bad. We were in the right. We should have been allowed to have the party of our lives that day. Luckily, we'd already very much had it on the last day of term before Easter, but flipping heck.
It's astounding. I do remember the one thing I think we spent a lot of time on this show talking about our childhoods, which I think makes sense given the theme of the show. I do remember going to great pains, and I don't know why this was important to me, and I'd never done it before, and I have not done it since. But it became very important to me on the last day of junior school, year 6, to be the first child on the school grounds. Now, this was difficult for many reasons. Number one, I was not even the kid who lived closest to the school. Yep. There was there was at least one kid who lived across the road from the school.
Well, there you go. You got to undercut that kid somehow.
I did. I got up at 6 o'clock. I left my house, I want to say, at 7. I know I got there before 8. I know I was the first child on the grounds.
So this is in the days when an 11-year-old child could wander in the dawn light on their own.
Yes, this was the far-flung past of 1997.
Yeah. It's I hear a lot of reference. I don't know to what extent this is true because I'm not a parent, but I do hear a lot of reference on, mostly on My Favorite Murder, actually, to how you can, in the past, you could be a child who was sort of autonomous in some way and wander around and go places on your own and do a bit of walking. And now you can't. I don't actually know how true that is. If it's true, I'm sad about that because, yes, it was one of life's great joys to have a little wander on your own, walk around.
Uwek, we have a problem.
Oh, do we? What?
Well, I put a blocker here, but he's at such an angle that all the lemmings are just walking underneath him.
Oh, I remember that. Yes.
It's ruddy tedious.
Yeah.
Oh, balls.
But yes, back in my day, I didn't used to walk to school until I was 11 and moved on to the bigger school. But you could go and walk in the woods by yourself if you wanted. There was a local pervert who hid in the woods and would. Well,
what a delightful story.
Well, I don't know how true it was. It was just famous that there was two famous stories about the local woods. One was that there was a pervert living in there, and of course we didn't. We were small children. We didn't have any idea of what such a person would do that would be a problem. He was simply called, if I may use a vulgar term on this stream, he was known as the Wanker Man. And so now I can extrapolate from that what he is alleged to be doing.
Yeah, I feel like that does cover a lot of the basis vis-a-vis what the local pervert did.
Yeah, whether I don't know if he was real. I never encountered him. But the other thing was the bomb holes. And the bomb holes was I don't actually know what it really was. I think it may have been something to do with the foundations of an old.
So long, he's burning to death.
Oh dear. I think it may have been something to do with the foundations of an old railway line that had since been decommissioned. But the bomb holes was a series in the woods of extremely steep slopes and hills, which they seemed artificial. And I don't know how a person could have built them if it wasn't someone with, JCBs and things, like proper building equipment. So I really don't know how they came to be there. But these extreme slopes, and we do mean extreme, were where you went to do, extreme sports BMX riding. And there was, you could do proper, real fail army stuff on there. And I was too scaredy to go there. I wasn't good enough at riding a bike, and I had my stabilizers on for really up until I was about 13 years old. But I do remember the legends of the bomb holes, which was that someone once had taken a piece of wire and threaded it between two trees just at a child's head height, so that as a child was going down the bomb holes, his head was lopped clean off.
Terrifying.
Yeah. And
Plausible?
what's really weird about that is that this may not be true, but my memory is that the person who told me that legend was the headmaster of the school, and that he did so in an all-school assembly. Now, I bet that's not true. I bet what he was doing was an assembly about urban myths or something. But I bet he was secretly trying to discourage us from going, because it was important that the local children didn't do this, because of course they could just very easily break all their limbs off and be left alone to die slowly in the woods.
And now I do want to point out the level we're about to play is called Lemmings in the Attic. Now
I rock and I ramble.
Yes, I'm not meaning to cut off your story because it's
all right. It's finished.
Okay, good. Because I wasn't listening. But the key thing here is that Lemmings in the Attic, I'm sure, is a reference to the movie Flowers in the Attic, which I think came out in the 80s. Would have been before. But the book is quite incesty, and they stripped all of that out of the movie. The book is deeply incestuous, which doesn't make it into the movie. So to have that be the title of this level, I think is comedy bronze.
I mean, it's not factually accurate, because the thing about lemmings being incredibly incestuous is of course a myth that was brought on by Walt Disney.
That's true. What you don't see is the cameramen or the kind of the crew off camera kind of goading them into sleeping with their siblings.
No, that's right. Also a myth made up by Disney is the fact that they all have little umbrellas that they can go slowly downwards with. Disney made all of that up.
Which, of course, led to the famous lawsuit Disney v. DMA Design of 1991. Which DMA Design shockingly won at the time.
Yeah. Just because it was how doody they were. And everyone went, oh, they're really cool. And so they won the court case.
Their lawyers were the two men from the from the logo at the time, which was the guy with the Judge Dredd helmet and the guy in the cool glasses.
Well, one of them was. And then the other one is the defense or prosecution, whichever one it was. Yeah. So I wonder then, does Flowers in the Attic, a thing about which I know nothing, have that arch? It's so carefully crafted there.
I think it's just that you have to get up here to get to I think it's just the fact that the level is all the way up here in the corner, and this is the titular attic, and these are the titular lemmings. Yeah.
They're looking quite titular. I thought that.
Yeah. I think it's just the lighting, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. No, that's just a stray bouncing pixel.
It's kind of like how Gigi Edgley in Firefly, they used to paint her cleavage in.
Sorry? What used to happen?
You used to watch Farscape, not Firefly, Farscape. You used to watch Farscape.
Oh, Farscape.
Right? Yes, I don't know why I said Firefly, probably because it's also begins with an F. But Gigi Edgley... I think
I only saw the first 2 Farscapes, so let's say I didn't.
Her character is introduced partway through season 1, and I, for the life of me, cannot remember the name of her character right now, which is gently embarrassing. But they did do a certain amount of contouring on her chest region.
What a strange sort of thing to do. Why did they do that?
Well, I would imagine so that people can be horny at them.
Right, that was what it was. They found it insufficient for broadcast.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's New Zealand, isn't it? So they have different standards over there. I have no idea if that's true.
Oh, right. Apparently her name was Chiana.
Chiana, yes, thank you.
Which this is a bit embarrassing, but I am going to have to Google this now to look at... I mean, her chest. I need to know what you mean by that. Like, what does it mean
Just Google Gigi Edgley chest and see what Google spits out at you that doesn't get filtered out by Safe Search. No, Google, I'm not searching for my phone. My Google Assistant just chimed in right there.
Is it just something to do with filters, or was she that colour in Farscape?
No,
she's a sort of grayed out
in the show.
Blue.
She was blue. Yes.
Ah, right. I see. Right.
There we go.
Yes, what I'm looking at is a person who indeed has breasts drawn on them. sort of like essentially she's got a top that ends about there, and then there's just 2 lines of shadow drawn. In some of the pictures, in others, it would appear to be real. But I suppose she does. Okay, look, they did also paint the same accents on her cheeks and like shoulder blades. So I guess it wasn't just that they wanted to.
Yeah, I think they were trying to.
She had different breasts.
They were trying to pretend that she had kind of a different anatomy.
It was a uniform highlighting of any angles and shapes on her anatomy. And had they not painted anything there at all, perhaps they thought it would look odd. I disagree. I think that would have just been ordinary because. Like there isn't really a reason for breasts to do that unless you force them in upon one another.
Well, what I'm going to say at this point, because it is here in the Los Angeles, in the city of Los Angeles, it is 11:25 a.m.
City of missing angles.
Yes, horrible. So I think now is actually a really good time to kind of draw a curtain on today's stream.
Yes, I agree with that. Because I want to start thinking about eating food.
Yes, and I need to start prepping for another thing that I'm going to be filming in here in about an hour and 30 minutes.
Right.
So I'm going to go do that.
And also, I'm just sort of sick of the sound of your voice.
So I'm sick of the sound of my voice too, but there's not really a lot I can do about that other than not speak, which I, unfortunately, because I have built a certain portion of my career around having to do a lot of talking, I'm obviously, of course, referring to my call center work, but it is what it is, and we're here now. What I am gonna do, I'm gonna save. I'm gonna create a save state, so I don't have to redo these levels again the next time we panic and decide to do Lemmings. Yeah.
Yes, because one of the characteristics of the UK half of our show is that those games are old, janky, and generally speaking on old computers, and don't always hold up.
And we're also not always... a lot of the time, we're playing games that we either haven't played in a long time, or in the case of Trapdoor, haven't played at all.
Yeah. Yep. Correct.
So I'm going to say thank you so much to the people who have watched, people who have participated in the chat. It's always a delight to see people hanging out, asking about what things are behind Dave, especially when I've given you that prompt after he stepped away to go and urinate. Thank you for watching. I suspect we will probably do this again next week. I see no reason not to.
I see no reason why I'm king of my castle.
Yeah. Sure. But thank you very much. Do subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're not already. It's Dave's YouTube channel. He does some wonderful stuff. And I also do some wonderful stuff. You can find me online. I'm Twitter, Instagram, kind of Tumblr, but I really just use Tumblr for my Instagram feed now. It's just at Ben Paddon. And do please listen to The Game of Rassilon, which you can listen to at thegameofrassilon.com or Adventures in Time and .space or the Death.zone. It's a Doctor Who role-playing game actual play podcast. We just recorded a new episode. We got 2 new episodes yesterday that feature a returning classic monster from the old school series that we had so much fun recording. I'm very excited for people to hear that. We won't hear that until July or August because we record so far in advance on that show.
Oh, crikey. Hamilton will have aired by then.
Yeah.
That's what I'm measuring my time in quarantine by. Like, I now have a single tentpole thing that I can just, like, be heading towards. Yeah, do. I vouch for all of Ben's things, what he do, and they're good. I do things as well. Wait, have you finished your things, Ben?
I'm done. Yeah, you go for it.
Okay, I do 2 podcasts you ought to listen to. One is called Sonic the Comic, the podcast, and you can just find it by looking for it. And it's me and Chris McFeely from Transformers The Basics talking about the British Sonic the Hedgehog comics released at around the time that we've been discussing today, and what it was like to be a Sonic fan when Sonic was new, and specifically in the UK, where they actually ran the franchise better than they did anywhere else, and therefore won the console war. So we're going to be telling you about the happiest possible time to be a Sonic fan, and make you feel like you're really there via the medium of going an issue at a time through Sonic the Comic that was out at the time, which also features comics about other games like Mark Miller's Streets of Rage. That's a highlight.
Wow.
Oh, Ben, if you don't know, join us. It's the latest one that we recorded ends on someone saying, "But did you defuse the other bomb?" And they go, "The other bomb?" And then it cuts to, and you can tell this is written by Mark Miller, a man strapped with his arms tied behind his back, rope over his mouth so he can't speak, strapped to a toilet with a bomb attached to his chest, and the next panel is the explosion of that bomb in a children's comic based on Sonic the Hedgehog and other Sega franchises. It's a lot of fun. Come and listen to it. That is Sonic the Comic, the podcast, and you can download the MP3s direct if you don't like Apple from stctp.wigglehe.com. My other podcast is called Serious Disness, in which me and my friend Jahan Ranasingh discuss animation and animation adjacent things, in particular all of those flipping weird live action and live action adjacent remakes Disney has been making over the last few years. We have actually watched them all, taken them seriously as pieces of filmmaking, and critiqued them without any kind of attempt to make it a it's not a snarky podcast where we're there to make fun of things or do cinema sins type dinging. Instead, we're actually, when they're good, we'll explain how they're good and we'll respond in that way. Many of them, however, are not good, and we are very honest about that. I'm currently editing the upcoming Beauty and the Beast episode, and oh my word, it might be one of the worst films ever made.
I'm not. So I do not like the live action Beauty and the Beast. I did like the live action Aladdin, but I think I've told you that before.
That's one of the best ones.
Aladdin, it is not perfect, but some of the changes they make, I think, genuinely enhance the story.
It was just it was just honestly a really nice day out. We had a tremendous time, and we have an episode up about that, which you can listen to. Not so much The Lion King, which we also have an episode up about already. So go and listen to that. Basically, apart from Aladdin and Lion King, because they were like coming out, the rest of them are in chronological order of release. So anyway, you can go and listen to that if you like. It is Serious Disness. That is DISNESS, and it can be found at seriousdisness.wigglehe.com or over on Apple or podcatchers that grab from Apple, such as Podbean and so on. There we go. That's things from me. So I guess we're about done, are we?
We're done, yeah. Thank you for tuning in if you have been. If you haven't been, how are you hearing this? And we will see you next time, which may well be next week. Keep an eye on our Twitters, Demon Tomato Dave and Ben Paddon, on our respective Twitter feeds. We will let you know.
Bye-bye!